watching Fox Sports, home to Super Bowl 36, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, and this July, Major League Baseball's 72nd All-Star Game.
My daddy would be so happy.
You know, there's no other sport that I can think of where family is as important as it is right here in NASCAR. And I can't imagine the thrill of being a dad, standing on the sidelines in the pits, watching your son win a race, like when Dale Jarrett won the Daytona 500.
You know who I'm pulling for. It's Dale Jarrett. Bring her to the inside, Dale. Don't let him get down there. He's got to make it. Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500. All right.
You know, I know of no other sport where family is so important, where family can actually go with you to your job and be there for the celebrations. They're there for the wins, and they're there for the losses as well. And there's a lot of dads out there today, and I just wish all of you happy Father's Day.
It's the Pocono 500 pre-race show, presented by Subway, showing the world how great a fresh sandwich can taste. Subway, eat fresh.
Today in the Winston Cup Series, taking us to Long Pond, Pennsylvania, the majestic Pocono mountain range, 90 miles west of New York City, 90 miles north of Philadelphia. It's not just a popular resort getaway. It's also the home of today's Pocono 500. More than 120,000 fans here at this unique 2.5-mile track, which includes the longest straightaway in NASCAR. We are in our mobile studio, located just inside the front stretch here at Pocono. Hi, I'm Chris Myers. Welcome to the Hollywood Hotel, and a special happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. You know, all sports are deep in tradition, linking fathers and their children, but nowhere is it more visible than in NASCAR. And we welcome in our usual cast of characters, a couple of dads themselves, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond. We're all fathers here. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you.
And to you.
And to you. You know, and that rapper, they call him Puff Daddy. My kids call me Puffy Dad. So it's one of those things you got to deal with. But both of you, I'm feeling okay. I miss you guys. You had a busy, all right. Had a busy weekend. You guys were in Kentucky. We just barely survived without you. But seriously, Darrell, for you, it's your home turf, a special moment, an exciting race. But for you, a lot more to this.
Well, it really was, Chris. You know, one of the things I cherish the most about my career and what I've accomplished is my friends, my relationships, and that's what makes this moment here so special. Look who's helping me get in my car that I won the Daytona 500 in. Going around there, and that's the very car that I won Daytona in. Got out and made a big fool out of myself again. And I didn't want to scratch that helmet up, so I caught it. But normally I would have spiked that helmet. Great night, a lot of fun.
Well, the one thing I wanted to add, Darrell, that was the first time I've been to Kentucky, and that place is immaculate. It is competitive, friendly. It's such a neat racetrack. I can't believe that we're not running a Winston Cup race here, because the garages are right. The grandstands allow the fans to sit up there and look in and see what the guys are doing to the race cars. It's so much fun at a racetrack, and that's the first time I've been there. Competition was great. Hey, we need to get back there and race some more.
All right, could happen in the near future. By the way, Kevin Harvick won that exciting Busch race last night, and we expect another great one here today. Jeff Gordon looking for his third straight win. Amazingly, Gordon has led nearly 90% of the laps in the last two races. He shifted into the same gear that he had in the late 90s when he took the sport to another level. I spoke with the three-time Winston Cup champ about his return to dominance. When you think of the word dominant in sports, what comes to your mind?
Well, I mean, I think of the Lakers right now. I think of you know, Michael Jordan and the Bulls. I guess I'm a basketball fan, so you know, you don't see a lot of dominance, you know, in many sports. But every once in a while, you know, you see a team or a player or a golfer like Tiger Woods come along and dominate.
And in '98, when you had 13 wins and during that run, I mean, you were the dominant driver. Did you see yourself in that similar position?
Yeah, that year, I mean, '98 was unbelievable for us. You know, we just did everything right. It seemed like even when we didn't have the best car, we were pulling into victory lane. So, you know, when you go through a 13-win season, it's unbelievable. You're you know, looking at yourself in the mirror and you're going, this isn't happening, you know, but it is.
How do you deal with the booing? I mean, everybody hears that.
I love it. The more the merrier. Seems like every time the boos get louder, then we're doing better on the racetrack.
Well, but we know there are a lot of Jeff Gordon fans out there. We hear the cheers too. Why do you think there's the booing?
Well, I guess it has come from some dominant years that we've had in the past. You know, I guess everybody likes to either pull for the underdog or pull against the guy who maybe has won, you know, some races recently, and that's the way I try to view it.
All right, with a couple of guys, you said you've heard the booing before, and not from our producer and director.
Hey, when they quit booing, for some odd reason, we quit winning. I don't know if there was some coincidence there, but when they quit booing, we quit winning.
That's part of the job. And, you know, the change from crew chief, from Ray Evernham to Robbie Loomis, much has been made of that. But Jeff said he kind of had to mature and adjust with the change, and now he feels like they're on the same page.
Chris, I think what went on was you had to go through this little transition period where, you know, they had to adjust again to a new guy, Robbie Loomis. He was so secure, so comfortable working with Ray Evernham, and when Ray left, I'm sure his confidence got shook, but he believed in himself, and he came back, and you can understand how it works.
Oh, yeah, self-confidence. And what great athletes are able to do, I don't care whether they're driving a race car or playing basketball, whatever they do, they're able to adjust and compromise, and he had to get his little security blanket that he had wrapped around him got taken away, and he had to find another way to get security, and he found that with the team, and now they're successful.
Yeah, I asked him what athlete he would want to be if he couldn't be himself. You know, past or present, he pointed to Joe Montana. He's a 49er fan, but also a guy who was cool under pressure. And Jeff has a chance to win his fourth career Pocono race today. Of course, you won 4, and we'll be listening to your broadcast. Time for you to go up to the booth. He's going to time.
I thought, you know,
you can't nail that one down.
He only had 3. I had 8.
That's it. He's going to head up to the booth as we count down to the start of today's race. These kids today. Coming up next, you're going to hear from pole sitter Ricky Rudd. Winning the pole doesn't exactly translate into winning the race. Just 6 of 46 pole sitters have ended up in victory lane here at Pocono. Welcome back. A good look at the Pocono Raceway here, the Hollywood Hotel taking on a life of its own. This fan creating his own Hollywood Hotel. Certainly a war wagon, but look inside.
Hey, I'm jealous.
Yeah, even Jeff Hammond with his wrench could have a good time in here. All right, Dick Bergman always has a good time. He's standing by with today's pole sitter. Dick?
Well, Ricky Rudd won for 16 consecutive years, but it's been a bit of a dry spell. 88 races, no wins since September 1998. Today, he's got a terrific race car. He starts on the pole. What do you say, Ricky? Ready to go get him?
Well, I felt a lot more optimistic, Dick, till you reminded me how long it's been since we won. Thanks for doing that. But no, it just sort of makes us hungry. This team's very, very hungry right now for a win. We've run really well. Had a good run last week at Michigan. We led the white flag lap. Unfortunately, we lost on the checker flag lap and finished second. But we got a great race car under us today. You know, it's a long day at Pocono. You got to take care of the equipment. So, I mean, I feel like we've got I wouldn't say the car to beat, but we've got as good a car as there is here today.
Crowd's with you. Good luck. To Steve Burns.
All right, thanks a lot, Dick. Sterling Marlin is the only driver who's been in the top 10 the entire season, trying to get Dodge into victory lane and starting second. Sterling, can you do it today?
Well, I hope so. We feel like all the guys on the crews give us a real good car with a Coors Light Dodge, and run good in the first practice yesterday, and we got to try some different stuff. The second one, it didn't run as good, but we just put the car pretty much back like it was, and you keep your fingers crossed. We had a real good car last week, and man, it was a heartbreaker, but we got a lot more races, and we're going to get us one.
All right, Sterling, now I'm going to throw it back to Chris Myers, and I'm going to be you, okay? Chris, hope the boys in the truck have a good show, and y'all been working hard. I think we're going to have a good show, good ratings, and we're doing a good job. You got it, Chris.
That's it.
That's pretty good, Steve. Steve's becoming the Fred Travolita of pit reporters.
Right.
Everybody was doing that impression. All right, Marlon was third last week in Michigan for the second straight week. Jeff Gordon, though, ending up in victory lane. MBNA honors Jeff, last week's winner.
I'll tell you right now, he is so tough. Right now, he's got momentum on his side. He attacks this race course extremely well. He'll be tough today.
All right, we'll watch for him on this track. Our experts, let's check how they have done picking winners. And Larry Max picked Jeff Gordon last week, but said you can't pick him the rest of the way. Jeff second. Darrell Waltrip looking for his first win of the year. Maybe he can turn it around today. Larry, Darrell?
All right, you've got two races to get Hammond back down to the bottom of this pile.
Yeah,
Who you going with?
I'm gonna take 28.
Oh, a 28 car pole sitter.
More bad news, Ricky. More bad news.
I'm going to pick a guy I've not picked yet. I'm going to go with Mark Martin. He's been fast in practice, and he was fast in qualifying. Jeff, who are you taking?
Well, I just want to let you know one thing. It takes two of you guys to hold me down. Just remember that. I'm going to go with Jeremy Mayfield because he's been very, very good when it comes to Pocono.
Yes, Jeremy, a two-time winner here. We'll be here watching the race from the Hollywood Hotel at the Poconos, the nearby Catskills. There are plenty of comedy clubs that have made careers out of comedians. Today's Race Odyssey featuring Matt Kens's spotter. He's up on the roof somewhere doing his best impersonation of a funny guy.
Today, the 2001 Race Odyssey is a mini show from the Poconos. Check out Matt Kenseth's spotter doing his spot as a comedian.
This past year, we won the Rookie of the Year for NASCAR, which is really, really cool. And Matt's a cool guy, a little tight with the wallet, but a cool guy. Because, you know, these guys aren't making too much money, you know. And so he takes us out. He says, I'm taking you guys out for dinner tomorrow. So great, very exciting. I got all dressed up. And he says he's going to take us out to a nice Irish restaurant. It's McDonald's. Darrell Waltrip, he's been racing for a long, long time. They say that when he started the business, the gauges had Roman numerals on them.
Anyway, have you ever wondered what a spotter really tells a driver during a race?
What you gonna tell them? They're going in a circle. Come on, people, think about it. You go around. You keep going. There's a turn. Go around. I'm spotting you. Make a left, and then another left, and keep making lefts. Just go.
Ah, yes. The fun has just begun as the Winston Cup season picks up some mojo at the Poconos. Next on Fox.
There's a car in front of you. Oh, you saw it?
Today in the world, we'll try to cover all the angles on this triangular track. In excess of 120,000 fans have gathered, and we're glad you're with us. The Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway, as Winston Cup racing continues. Jeff Gordon, the new points leader, comes in on a roll, hoping to hold off Dale Jarrett, who led for 9 straight weeks. Maybe for Gordon, he could take this all the way to his 4th Winston Cup Points Championship. Father's Day, a special time, especially in NASCAR. Our thoughts today with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who, of course, lost his father this year, and a father, Kyle Petty, who lost his son in racing. This weekend, the Mattioli family here dedicated the garage at Pocono Raceway to the late Adam Petty. Richard Petty won the very first race ever here at Pocono. Let's go down trackside for opening festivities.
Please remain standing for the national anthem. To present the invocation, Father Phil DeRay.
Let us pray. We give you thanks, O Lord, for all your blessings. Today we celebrate Father's Day. We call to mind your paternal love for us all. Bless our dads, whom we honor and pay tribute to today. Bless our children, our families. May our homes be a haven of love and comfort. We pray for a safe and exciting race. Bless our drivers and their teams, our workers and volunteers, all of us gathered here. May the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you, and give you his peace. Amen.
For the singing of our national anthem, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you, Billy Ray. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the governor of Pennsylvania, Mr. Tom Ridge, and his son, Tommy. Ladies and gentlemen, the next words you hear will be the most famous in all of auto racing.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
The engines have been fired. Ricky Rudd, who hasn't won in 88 races, hoping to get one step closer to victory.
One lap to go.
All right, Ricky, come on, buddy.
And they're side by side at the start-finish line. Rudd with a car length advantage. Oh, Gordon got the lead. And Gordon to win. He holds off Ricky Rudd. Wow.
Last week, Jeff Gordon won from the pole, edging out Ricky Rudd. He said he may have awoken a sleeping giant in Ricky, who's on the pole today. We'll see how he does. Let's go up to our crew that'll be calling the race with Mike Joy.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone, and happy Father's Day, Dad, with Larry McReynolds and three-time Winston Cup champ Darrell Waltrip. 3 different length straightaways, 3 different radius turns, 3 different bankings. First, Larry, how do you set up for this place? Which corner do you concentrate on? And Darrell, which one do you drive?
Well, you got to set up for all of them. They're all important.
They're all
but
different.
Turn 3 onto that long straightaway where all the passing, they'll be 5 wide, they'll be 6 wide, 200 miles an hour down into turn 1, DW.
Yeah, and I agree. Turn 3 is important. That leads to the start-finish line, obviously. But I always worked on the tunnel turn. I always felt like if I could get across there, then I was going to get down to turn 3 quicker than anybody else, give me a little lead coming up off of there. So the big deal about today is the shifting gears. How many guys are shifting once, third to high, back to third? How many guys are shifting over the tunnel turn, third to high? So it'll be fun to watch. Maybe we'll have some M-car shots. That's the fun part. When they start shifting those gears, getting in there, bumping into each other side by side.
And several drivers have talked about this weekend how tough Ricky Rudd is through that tunnel turn area. So the most unique racetrack in all of NASCAR, an oval that drives like a road course with 3 turns, not 4. And we're getting ready to go, go, go in the Poconos.
Green, green, green.
Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award. Today's Bud Pole winner, Ricky Rudd. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's pole program. Let's have a look at our Subway starting grid for today's Pocono 500. Ricky Rudd, first Pocono pole. It's his 44th appearance here. Sterling Marlin, the 99 pole winner.
And Tony Stewart, the Rushville Rocket, will start fourth, matching his best career Pocono finish. But Stewart recorded a 26th place run last July, but he couldn't pick a better race car for a Pocono rebound. It has one start and one finish, a victory last November at Homestead.
This could be a very emotional day for Dale Jr. You know, it's a Father's Day.
And Mark Martin, he's seeking his first win in over a year. He's never won here, but has 14 top fives.
Dale Jarrett had the points lead until he crashed in qualifying 3 weeks ago at Charlotte. Since then, he has slid back in the points every single week. To win the championship, he needs to turn it around. This would be a good place to start.
Brett Bodine, he has 9 top 10s in 28 Pocono races, both DNFs, though, in 2000.
Hey, look at my little buddy there, Casey Atwood, qualifying good this week.
Rusty Wallace, 4-time Pocono winner, and he won here last July. Bobby Labonte, he won both the 99 races here.
Kevin Harvick stunned everybody when he won the Cracker Barrel Old Country Store 500 in Atlanta. Just his third Winston Cup start in Dale Earnhardt's car. He's 9th in Winston Cup points. He leads the Busch Grand National points. This weekend, he's trying to make it a double. He won the Busch Series race last night in Kentucky. Today, he starts 19th.
Brace of Dodges on the 11th row, Ward Burton and Stacy Compton.
Felipe Lopez making a big difference in that 90 car. Good qualifying run.
Mike Skinner still looking for that first win, but top 10s in the last 3 Pocono races.
Jimmy Spencer, 5 top 10s this year, 5 top 10s in his Pocono career. Dave Blaney and Steve Park. This is one of Park's home tracks, if you will.
Very emotional day. We got a father missing a son. We got a son missing a father. Kyle Goldman.
Ricky Craven finished 16th here. Jason Leffler, the rookie. Ron Hornaday Jr., whose son Ronnie raced last night in Kentucky.
And there's Bobby Hamilton Jr., Talladega winner. Come on, Bob, pick it up.
Jerry Nadeau, like his teammate Terry Labonte, had to use a provisional. Jerry's best finish this year, a 3rd at Atlanta.
Kurt Busch hold the oil pan in his qualifying lap. He took a provisional along with Presley.
And Wally Dallenbach starting 43rd, his first race in 2001, substituting for the injured Joe Nemechek.
It meant that only 2 cars went home without enough provisional points to break into the field. Kenny Wallace in the Duke's Mayonnaise car in the McDonald's, number 96 of Andy Houston. Chris?
All right, with Jeff Hammond, not enough can be said about Jeff Gordon. Not only does he come in on a roll, but next week at Sears Point, Sonoma Valley, where he has won 3 straight, could win his 4th straight there. He's currently the points leader. What should we expect from him today, Jeff? And how does the rest of the field, you never just shoot for one guy. You're trying to win a race, but certainly they got to be thinking about this guy who dominated back in '98.
Absolutely, Chris. What has happened here is he's gotten himself back on that championship stride, and the rest of the competition, they've seen this before, and they're scared to death. If they keep going, he'll be hard to hold back.
And for Kevin Harvick doing the double dip, Steve Burns pointed out the Busch points leader, 9th in points in the Winston Cup. He's got to be tired. In fact, Dale Earnhardt Jr. held top of his car in happy hour yesterday to kind of just make sure that everything was running okay.
I still go back and believe that right now this young man is running on adrenaline. He won last night coming in here. Hey, again, we talk about momentum. He's still got that feel from last night. I believe he'll be, really good here, even though this is kind of a new racetrack for him. That team will be, successful today. And I want to add one other thing here, Chris, before we get away from this. We talked about strategy. We talked about how tough this racetrack is on transmission and brakes. But it also could come down to a strategy and fuel race. A lot of times races have been won here at this racetrack on fuel strategy. So as we go into the day, we need to watch for that.
The land where this track was built was once a spinach farm, so we'll see which driver will be Popeye today. Let's go back upstairs.
It's a hard line to follow, but I'll try.
To beat Popeye today. Somebody will pop somebody now. I know that if they don't watch out.
There's a look at turn 1 and a look at our race analysis today. 43 cars, 200 laps, 500 miles.
Jeff Hammond talked about it. We're going to look at this right here all day long. A lot of teams said going 40 laps, a little borderline. If you can do 40 laps, you can do it on 4 stops.
Terry Labonte's on pit road. Don't know what his problem is, but he just comes down pit road and they're all inside the car like maybe an ignition problem.
A look at this beautiful track from the Up top here is Terry Labonte, who is on pit road. Got to put that side window back in and get his radio difficulty straightened out, having communication trouble with the crew.
You got to be able to communicate, man.
We're going to communicate along with 8 drivers in the field today. There are all of the Fox onboard cameras. And add to that list Mark Martin. Or excuse me, Johnny Benson. I'm sorry, I'm a year off. It was a late night last night in Kentucky. All right.
Looks like Mark Martin. Feels like Mark Martin.
Casey Atwood.
I tell you what, this is a tough race, as Larry and Jeff alluded to. Brakes and transmissions, buddy, you got to take care of everything here, and it's 500 miles. This is a long afternoon of racing right here.
Here he is.
All right, let's watch old Juki here. Come on, buddy. Let me see that wrist action. Come on, flip it out there for me.
This is another fellow whose dad was
Warming
a
up
great
them
short track
tires.
racer, and his son Greg is beginning a late model career.
You seeing a guy that's going to hustle a car. That's that cat right there. He'll be shifting those gears. He'll be pounding on that thing all day long.
Another fellow whose dad was a great racer, Ned Jarrett, 2-time champ, and his son Jason, Dale's son Jason.
2 totally different styles. He's smooth and consistent. And here they come down to take the green flag. We're cinched up. We got them buffed off. We're going to go racing. Green, green, green. Go, 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 boys. And they're already 3 wide going down in the first turn. Gets really racy down this front straightaway.
About 6 wide back there from about 20th on.
Who will lead the first lap, Ricky Rudd or Sterling Marlin?
It's a drag race right now. Guy on the inside should have the advantage going down the back. Let's see who's got the most horsepower here. Watch that 28 car. He'll start to muscle out in front of the old Sterling Marlin there, and he'll lead them across the tunnel.
Sterling will get to the bottom through the tunnel turn, the fastest corner on the racetrack.
It's always a little edgy across there the first time. Track's a little dirty, cars slide around a lot. Side-by-side racing, very difficult through that part of the track.
And now the long, flat turn 3. You're in this corner for more time than any place on the racetrack. It's a good place where you can pick up or where you can lose a lot of time.
And as strong as we thought Ricky Rudd was across that tunnel turn.
Whoa, Ward Burton hit the wall. And here comes Dale Jr. for second.
Junior told me he's got a hot rod under him today. He said, I'm good, DW. Watch me.
Watch him move into second. Tony Stewart could not close the deal behind him.
Shoved up there, drove in a little hard, shoved up off the corner. Doesn't hurt you too bad. Sometimes it actually helps you get a little momentum up off that corner. Sterling's car looks like it's reared up in the front end just a little bit more than usual for one of those Dodges. They usually got them sucked down more than that.
Rudd, Earnhardt Jr., and you ride with the third-place driver, Sterling Marlin.
Back to the throttle early, back in that tunnel turn, up the short chute, shortest straightaway there is.
Oh, everybody just, that tunnel turn is a little tricky till he gets some rubber down over that part of the track.
Steve Park moving underneath Rick Mast.
Cars will be real loose there at the start, but before the day's over, they'll be complaining about shoving, and there's lap 3.
Solid third lap in memory of Dale Earnhardt as Ricky Rudd leads them off into turn 1 with a 7/10 of a second lead on Earnhardt Jr. Then Tony Stewart, Sterling Marlin, and Dale Jarrett, the 5th place car.
I'm not real impressed with the way Sterling's car looks right now, Larry. The front end of the car is up a little higher than I think it ought to be, and Ricky Rudd's showing that his qualifying speed. You know, he killed these guys qualifying, and he's driving off and leaving them right now.
Dale Jarrett, the UPS car, the 88 car goes by Sterling Marlin. That's a battle for 4th.
More of that Yates power, and this is one place where there's no substitute for power down these long straightaways.
You got to have it all here, Darrell. These cars got to handle through these corners. You got to have that straightaway speed, like you're saying. You got to have that front end down. Dick Bergman, what's happening in the pits?
Well, Sterling Marlin's car is tight. He was pushing in the happy hour practice as well. They tried to loosen it up a bit. They expected the track was going to be tight. They apparently have not loosened it up enough. He is complaining that the car is tight. Tony Glover, team manager, has been on the radio and said, just be patient. Don't hit the wall again. Good advice.
Don't hit it again. Don't hit it the first time, man.
He got it, and Ward Burton got it.
That's the second time we've seen Ward Burton hit the wall over there off turn 3. But in the racetrack here, Darrell, it'll just get tighter, tighter, tighter. Car will turn less and less and less, and that's so important, being able to get off these corners, to get that thing to turn, but yet not be loose.
Yeah, as the rubber gets down on the racetrack, what happens, the front end will start to just slide. And you need to be back in the power, particularly across this turn right here, and you got to wait. And you'll scrub that wall off that turn a lot. You run out of room right there. You want to be wide open as quick as you can. Sometimes you get in a hurry and shove it out in the fence.
Jeff Gordon, number 24, running 8th, just in front of Johnny Benson, and about to put the move underneath Sterling Marlin at turn 3.
Well, again, I want to talk about the attitude of that 40 car. I think that's probably his biggest problem. And that, when the car has a bad attitude, guess who else has a bad attitude?
The driver.
The guy inside that attitude.
The guy you're talking to on the end of the radio.
That's right.
Ricky Rudd holding steady at 0.7 of a second in the lead over Dale Earnhardt Jr. Third place is going to change hands here. It's Jarrett and Stewart battle.
I got a pretty good idea that 20 car will be in the hunt today. They run very well here.
Jarrett takes the spot, dispatching Stewart to 4th. Kenny Schrader. The M car is up to 5th. Eight of 200 laps complete in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. Ricky Rudd, the race leader. Dale Jarrett has come from 10th to 3rd, and Jeff Gordon has come from 14th to 7th in this race.
Do you know, Mike, I don't know. Normally we see a lot of side-by-side racing here early on, the first 10 or so laps. Boy, it looked like everybody today, Larry, just wanted to jump in line and ride a little bit here.
But you know what? As a crew chief, you tell your driver, 500 miles, over 4 hours. Let's be patient here. We can't win this thing in the first lap or 2.
That's when the driver calls back and says, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Dale Earnhardt Jr., though, is closing in. He's cut Rudd's lead from about 0.7 of a second when we went to break, now to just a little more than half a second.
Well, I picked Ricky to win this race. But if I had an emotional or a sentimental favorite for this day, it'd be Dale Jr. I'd like to see him win this race. It'd be really special to him.
Looking out the front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car at that 28 Texaco car, I talked to Michael McSwain, Ricky Rudd's crew chief, this morning, and I said, hey, Fatback, call him Fatback. I said, this race car maybe you had at Michigan, boy, here we got a big battle for 5th. Kenny Schrader in the 36, Jeff Burton in the 99, and Jeff Gordon in that 24 that started back in 14th. Fastest in happy hour, he's on his move. But back to Ricky Rudd's number 28 car. I said, this is the car you had at Michigan last week? He said, Larry, this is a brand new race car. We ran it at Las Vegas. He said, we have put 3 bodies on this race car in the last 3 weeks. Last body we put on it, we liked it. We brought it here. I said, did you win tunnel? He said, yeah, when we unloaded it on Friday.
Yeah, and let me tell you, a body, you can spend as much as $15,000 to put a body on one of these cars. So that shows you how dedicated these teams are to getting that little bit, that extra little bit that makes the difference. This 24 cat, he knows about that extra little bit.
Jeff Burton had a run on him, but going in the corner, that's where Gordon showed superior, and now he whips out under Schrader.
There's a run right there. 24 car isn't hurting for horsepower either. I saw it last week at Michigan. I believe they've stepped their program up.
Debris on the racetrack. Yellow flag is out. It's at turn 3, we're told, coming onto the front straightaway, putting us under the first caution of the day at lap 10.
Some of those guys have been scrubbing the wall. It's real easy to scrub the wall off of 2, real easy off of 3.
Pace car will pick up the field as Ricky Rudd leads them across at Pocono. Some of the leaders have made pit stops, but not everybody. Steve Burns.
Well, Tony Stewart's on pit road. 4 tires and some chassis adjustments. Tony said he's tight going into 1, but loose coming off 4. They went down a pound on the right front and some wedge in the left rear.
There's Sterling Marlin's stop. Again, 4 tires for most all of these teams. Matt?
Mike, there was some debate whether Kevin Harvick would actually pit under this caution because teams have been told by NASCAR that there will be a mandatory caution on or before lap 25. So they were talking about maybe waiting until then, but Kevin says his car is still very loose, so they did adjust with air pressure.
Field coming back out, you can see that Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not pit. Here's the big fake out.
Watch this. This sly little devil right here. Watch him.
I'm coming in.
I'm coming in,
I'm
buddy.
coming in.
You
Ricky
stay out there. You're the setting duck.
Yeah, I'm coming in.
Here I come down pit road. Everybody gonna come with me. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Whoa!
And everybody else goes with him.
And some of them said, "What?" I love it. Little strategy. But if I'm talk to me here, crew chief. If I'm going to have a caution, mandatory caution at 25 or so laps, why wouldn't I stay out?
Yeah, definitely. But I think he was trying to maybe make Ricky Rudd commit as much as anybody behind him. Get Ricky Rudd on pit road. Dick Bergman, was that the method to the madness?
Well, Ricky Rudd and his crew chief, Michael McSwain, have been going back and forth on the radio. You might think this is one of those AM radio soap opera talk shows, the rate that they've been going, but they finally decided to stay out. It was Rudd's decision, dropping off 7/10 in those first 10 laps.
Wow.
So they are going slower, but they decided to stay out.
12 laps complete. First caution of the day, debris in turn 3. We'll be right back to Pocono on Fox.
And Ricky Rudd, the pole sitter, holding on to the lead under the early going. Joining us here at this year's exciting Pocono 500, the Fujifilm blimp with captains Mike Fitzpatrick and Doug McFadden at the helm. And speaking of Ricky Rudd, of course, his 623rd consecutive start in Winston Cup racing. Terry Labonte holds the all-time record at 6:55. They're ready to go green. Mike Joy.
The big gainers, John Andretti from 20th to 11th, Steve Part from 30th to 15th place, and Wally Dallenbach from last to 19th. Here we go, green.
Green flag, all passing to the right. Once you get the green flag, you can pass, but you got to do it to the right. And a lot of times you'll get a guy set up on the outside down there in turn 3 and pass him before you get down here.
And Daryl Pocono is what made that rule. The green flag would come out, they'd be to the right, they'd be to the left, they'd be all the way against the inside wall. Finally, they said, look, you got to pass on one side.
And you only have to protect one side that way, and you got the wall to help you. But a lot of guys will snooze, and you can jump out there and take the position away from them. Boy, that 28 car can get a leap. He leaps out front.
Now, Kevin Harvick made a pit stop under caution, was one of many of the leaders to do so. Let's go to his pit, Matt.
And Mike, at the last second, Kevin Harvick's crew chief Kevin Hamlin decided against the air pressure change, but you still brought your driver down pit road even after NASCAR told you they would have a mandatory caution. Why?
Well, if they do that on lap 25 like they're talking, that'll put us better in a window. We'll see what this thing will do on fresh tires right here, and then we may pull a little bit different strategy when they do throw that caution.
They want to see if the track will come to them. Steve Burns?
Vibrating really bad. So they're coming. And just listening to Jerry Mayfield talk to his crew chief Peter Suspenzo, he was on pit road. The transmission has a problem. It's popping out between 3rd and 4th gear, and Jeremy just radioed in as you threw it to me. He said it's still vibrating very badly, so they do not have it fixed.
Tough break for the young fellow who's seen such success here.
Well, you can drive the thing in overdrive in 4th gear, but you just can't shift. You're not going to make near as good a time. But, there was a time not too terribly long ago when we did all that shifting here.
Well, and the reason they shift here, okay, they're going to come off, we're turn 3 right here. We got a battle for the lead. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Rudd, they're going to be side by side.
This ain't much of a battle here. He just drove up there and took it away from him.
But right about there, they'll grab high gear. High gear, the rest of this long straightaway is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's going to take the lead, headed off into turn 1. Right here, right about the 1 mark, downshift back to 3rd. Most teams will run 3rd gear the rest of the way around the racetrack. Reason being, if you didn't shift, you'd have to pull a much higher gear to keep the RPMs down on the front straightaway that's so long.
Yeah, now 3rd gear is your 1-to-1 gear. That's like being in high gear. When you pull it back to 4th, you go into what we call overdrive. So that just keeps the engine from turning so many RPM down this long front straightaway. So you can pull a low gear, shift into 4th gear, save the motor.
Yeah, because what you want up the Long Pond Straight, the reason we call that the Long Pond Straight, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, is just the other side of there. That's the second longest straightaway. Up that straightaway in the short chute, you'll pull about a 380 gear. When you shift to overdrive, it brings you to a higher gear somewhere in the mid 350s, low 360s.
Here comes Jeff Gordon on Ricky Rudd, and you see on Fox Tracks the gap to the leader, Earnhardt Jr. And now you see his speed.
Going to push right against 200 miles an hour in the mid 190s, and that's going off into turn 1 where you're making more than a 90-degree turn.
And I'm just glad, I tell you, I'm glad I'm up here, and I'm glad I never knew that we went that fast going down there. I always knew it felt fast, but I didn't have any idea we were doing 200 miles an hour.
Now this is the Long Pond straightaway headed into what we call the tunnel turn, the fastest corner, turn 2. Reason we call it the tunnel turn, it goes over the tunnel that the traffic comes in the infield right there underneath that scoreboard. This is up the short chute right here into that long turn 3 that just goes forever, ever, the flattest corner. People that pick up the gas early right there in the middle of that corner, they're the ones that will go down that straightaway faster because they're carrying more speed off the corner.
And you know, Ricky Rudd told me something here 3 or 4 years ago, and it was true. He says as soon as I get up off of turn 3, DW, I shift into 4th gear. And he said, I've done it here for years, and it always seems to make my car run better. I tried it, and he was right. A lot of guys will carry the thing way down here past the start-finish line, then hit 4th gear. All you're doing is abusing your engine, and it doesn't run any faster.
You short shift, and you're depending on the torque to accelerate.
And let the motor carry you on down.
RPM.
Right. Because all you're really trying to do, Mike, is save the engine. 500 miles, you don't want to shake the thing apart down this long front straightaway.
2 Dodges battling. Sterling Marlin trying to move back up toward the front. He's racing Bill Elliott for 21st position.
Yeah, they've been battling each other pretty hard there for several laps. He finally got by him, but there's some tight racing.
Spencer up the outside behind Hut Strickland, taking Ricky Craven with him.
This is about 31st through about 40th right here in one pack.
And the draft is really effective here. You get a bunch of cars running together like this right here, and, buddy, the rest of them are going to drive off and leave you. It looks good. It's exciting. It's fun to watch. But guess what? The leaders are driving off in the sunset.
Stacey Compton leading that pack. Bobby Hamilton pokes the nose out. So does Kyle Petty.
See, the 4 car there, Kevin LePage, we talk about spotters, how important spotters are. Kevin's wife, Donna, is spotting for him. One of the few races she spots for him in the bush, but very rarely does she do the cup spotting. She's up top of the spotter spotting for her husband.
Yeah, well, you got to be comfortable with your spotter. I guess the redhead and I could do that. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. She spots for me when I drive on the highways.
Yeah, right. Whose wife doesn't? And it's a help, I'll tell you.
Oh, it is. Yes, I'm not complaining. Keep doing it, honey.
You're clear, DW.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. 20 laps complete.
There we see the spotters. All the way atop the grandstand.
Now, Tony Stewart went from 4th on the caution back to 20th on the pit stop, and he's trying to come back forward, Steve Burns.
Yeah, Mike and his race team is not too happy about the decision to pit. In fact, they would not have pit. They said they weren't told that there would be a mandatory pit stop. Greg Zipadelli and Joe Gibbs both talking to a NASCAR official, and the official said we couldn't get to you soon enough, but they're not real happy about it. They would not have pitted, no, if they knew that mandatory caution was coming out.
Well, and I got to say, I was at the driver's meeting, and they normally bring those things up at the driver's meeting, and it was not mentioned at the driver's meeting that there would be a mandatory stop at lap 25.
And I can think of no reason why that would happen. The tire here is very safe, and there's no tire problem, so I'm not sure why that happened.
And there was fairly ample practice time yesterday.
Yeah.
So 21 laps are now complete. This is the first time that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has ever led a Winston Cup race at Pocono.
And he's hunting the lead. Let me tell you, they got Big Mo on their side, and they don't need a whole lot of help. And here comes Bobby Labonte on pit road.
I seen his crew scrambling down in the pits, and he's coming to pit road, unscheduled pit stop.
I know why. You pit now. This is like a road course. You get in the pits, get your 4 tires. You're not going to lose a lap. Caution on the 25th lap. He's taking advantage of that.
Smart. If that caution comes out on lap 25 as rumored.
If you have a good stop, you can make a green flag stop here, and you can get out before the leaders come around. Steve Burns.
Yeah, right side tires, and they decide not to put on left side tires. They started to, Larry, but didn't. 10 seconds even on pit road for the 18.
Well, I think the reason maybe they called it off is they seen the leaders going up the short chute, knew they was closing in on them.
Oh, tactics, tactics. Here's the yellow flag.
We used to do this on the road course all the time. When we knew there was a caution, we'd dive in, beat the pace car out. We're leading the race when they come around.
So now here's Bobby Labonte, and he will get the free go-around because the pace car has to pick up Dale Earnhardt Jr. And when all these other teams pit, if Labonte elects to stay out, he's the new leader.
Now, see, that's the problem with saying, hey, there's going to be a caution on the 25th lap at this particular racetrack, because you can get in, do your service, and not lose a lap. This is going to be a big plus for this guy. The reason he took 2 tires, they were just in and took 4 earlier.
So this is a caution that was called by NASCAR in response to some driver concerns that were expressed following the drivers' meeting about the heavy rains last night and a green racetrack and some teams wanting to have a look at tire wear at about 25 laps.
And I don't disagree with that. That's a great call. But you got to let everybody know.
And normally the drivers' meeting's a place to do that. What we mean by a green racetrack is all the rubber has been washed off. And when all the rubber's washed off, it will wear tires more until the rubber gets back down. The wear rate will be a lot greater.
And apparently, my understanding is the decision to call this caution was not made and transmitted to the crews until beginning around lap 11. They started informing crews up and down pit road that there would be a caution at lap 25. And I agree with you, Darrell. Bobby Labonte is exactly the reason why. What if you said there'll be a caution between lap 25 and 30 and kind of floated in there so that the teams, well, it's a heck of a strategy if you did it.
Oh, no, this is going to pay off for him. Now, that's assuming everybody takes advantage of this caution.
That's right.
Now, you may have been in the pits on lap 11. You may say, hey, I don't need to come back in.
And this is one reason as a crew chief, even though it was a lot in my ear, I would always monitor NASCAR. I would scan NASCAR with a scanner. That way I could know if they were trying to relay a message to the race teams.
Crew chief, it's a hard job, isn't it, bud?
It's tough.
You got to do it all. You got to talk to the driver. You got to listen to NASCAR.
Here's how they come around, and they head for pit road. Earnhardt Jr., Gordon, Rudd, Jarrett, and Jeff Burton.
And everybody. Here they all come except
Johnny Benson and his teammate Ken Schrader, 6th and 7th. Then Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Brett Bodine in the top 10, and John Andretti.
And there's only one guy that's jumping up and down in his seat right now, and he's driving a green car.
Well, and the reason the guys that pitted back on lap 10 or 11 have to pit, they are over a third of a stop. Steve Byrne.
Kenny Schrader into the 36, Larry. He said he's a little bit loose all around the racetrack, especially in turn 1. They've made an air pressure adjustment to the right rear tire. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has told his crew that the car is really, really good. The only place he's having any trouble is his little tight off. To Matt.
Jeff Gordon in the middle of your screen. They were talking about making an air pressure adjustment, but they decided against it. His car was a little bit tight off of the turn 3, but the other 2 turns, his car was very good.
Saw some 2 tire stops. I believe Stacy Compton was one of those, trying to pick up some track position. This looks like the race after the race to get out of the parking lot, not to get out of pit road.
But here's a point. Look at Jeff Gordon. He's got a fast car. He's a great driver. And he beats them in the pits. I mean, where are you going to beat this guy?
And he takes 4 tires. They don't worry about taking 2 tires. They know they can change 4 almost as quick as some teams can change 2 and dump all the fuel in.
And I'm corrected. That was Compton coming into his pit where he will get 4 tires, not coming out. 2 drivers stayed on the racetrack. The aforementioned Bobby Labonte and Kevin LePage.
Yeah, LePage is going to lead a lap, and then he'll probably duck on pit road. Be my guess.
Strategy. Always plays a role at Pocono.
And we're 3.5 hours away from the finish of the race.
Right. 26 laps complete, 2nd caution of the day. The first was for debris at lap 11, and this one is for the teams to be able to check tire wear. This is NASCAR on Fox.
Light, are you ready for a cold one?
Welcome back to the Pocono 500, and stay with Fox Racing for next Friday from Sears Point, Sonoma. The wine country on Fox Sports Net, qualifying for the Winston Cup race at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. And then on Saturday, NASCAR this morning, on Sunday actually, getting you ready for the race. The Dodge 350, you'll see that on Fox at 3 Eastern. That's noon Pacific, the home base. Again, Jeff Gordon has won the last 3 races at Sears Point, and it's all wrapped up for you back on Fox Sports Net on NASCAR Victory Lane at 9 o'clock. with Jeff Hammond, watching from the Hollywood Hotel. Ricky Rudd, by the way, who won the pole. When I talked to him, I was down to the pits this week when you were out in Kentucky with DW.
Yeah,
and
congratulations
Mike
on that.
That was a lot of fun.
Excellent job.
It was a lot of work. I was sweating. But Rudd told me, hey, it's no big deal qualifying here, being up front, because it's a long race and a lot can happen. So I want to talk a little strategy, Jeff, as we're getting ready to restart with the Rudd currently running fifth.
Yeah, as they're going green right now, it's the 18 car, Bobby Labonte brought it down. Talking about strategy, Jimmy Maycar and his crew have already kind of played that deal out by coming in early and getting the lead.
And what's Rudd doing here, Jeff?
Right now, he's already making a move underneath there. I think they've got a little chassis adjustment been made. He's making a pass back underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr. to put a challenge back for to get back up front, because I know Ricky wants to lead this race. He knows up front's where he needs to be.
All right, let's get more on strategy. Go down to Dick Bergman. Dick?
Well, strategy has been incredibly important in the history of these races at Pocono, never more so than last year when Rusty Wallace dominated this event and led 107 laps. But with just 13 to go, the yellow flew. He came in, decided to take 4 tires. His teammate, Jeremy Mayfield, at the last minute after discussing taking 4 tires with Rusty, took 2. Mayfield won the race. Rusty wound up 10th. They're already playing the strategy card early today at Pocono. To Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, and Jeremy Mayfield is still having a transmission problem. They have lost overdrive, so he's going to run it in 3rd gear. But he said the hardest part is trying to drive the rest of the way with my fingers crossed. To Matt.
Steve, listening to a number of crew chiefs on the turn 1 end of pit road, they all feel like the 18 team might have snookered them on pit strategy short pitting. Speaking of pitting, the 29 team of Kevin Harvick, they only took on 2 tires. Remember, they pitted on that first caution. They did make a track bar adjustment because he is a little loose entering the corners and tight in the center.
Only thing about the strategy, he only got 2 tires. He took 2 right side tires. Talking about Bobby Labonte, and he's paying the price for it. These guys with 4 are kind of putting the moves on him.
Yeah, Darrell, the only time I've been a big fan of changing 2 tires at Pocono is maybe under green when they're all spread out. You don't have to do a lot of racing.
Yeah, he needs the grip right now, and he doesn't have what these other guys have got.
Back when we went to commercial, Kevin LePage was in front of Bobby Labonte, but he peeled off to pit road, as Darrell predicted, and made a stop under the caution. He did not get credit for leading a lap because Labonte, the pace car, runs faster than the pit road speed. Labonte was the first car to the line, so got credit for leading that lap. But Bobby Labonte's not going to lead many with just that 2-tire stop, as now Johnny Benson works underneath Labonte.
Yeah, because you can lead a lap on pit road. Because the start-finish line, it goes all the way across pit road.
Just have to get there first.
Got to get there first, whether it's on the racetrack or on pit road.
Across turn 2, the tunnel turn, and into the short chute, the shortest of the 3 different length straightaways.
Well, what happens there is you get a run on a guy, you get in under him, and then you can go across that tunnel turn 2 wide, and you can go into this corner 3 wide. But somebody's got to give. If you ever played chicken, that's what it's like getting down in there. Who's going to lift? Who's going to give me the line?
Saw Wally Dallenbach on the move. He's subbing for Joe Nemechek in the 33. Nemechek expected back for Daytona for the Pepsi 400.
And Scott Pruitt, who drove the car that Ricky Craven's driving this year, the 32 car, he will be in that car in Sonoma.
In the 33, correct.
Right.
And the Corvette won the 24 Hours of Le Mans with Scott Pruitt aboard.
How about that? You wouldn't mind trying that, Darrell?
I could do. I'm available.
Okay.
I got a uniform. I got a helmet. I'm ready to go, boys.
Let's go.
He's in 13th position. Hopefully he'll have a better day today than he had last night. Look, here we got a pass. This is for 2nd place. Ricky Rudd.
I think Rudd made a nice chassis adjustment and on their pit stop, and he's back going again. Fell back a little bit, lost a little bit of time there in that first session, but that caution played right into his hands too.
And oftentimes on this track, passing is different because, Darrell, at the top of the show, you said you drive it like a road course. So if a guy wants the corner, let him have it going in. Work on him later to get that position back. So you'll see a lot of give and take here.
Yeah, you will, and that's what you got to have here to have good, clean racing. You got to give the guy the line. When he gets the position, you got to give it to him. That's why you see guys work real hard down that long back straightaway. You get under a guy, you don't want to race him across that tunnel turn. It's too treacherous.
And the theory behind that in road racing, if you fight a car into the corner side by side, you slow down both cars.
Yeah, and you see how quickly everybody's got single file here. Today, for whatever reason, I've seen everybody getting single file quicker than I ever have before.
You're going to run a lot quicker in single file than you will side by side.
It seems like everybody's pacing themselves today. Maybe it's fuel. Maybe they know the engines are working harder than they ever have before. But a lot of single file racing today.
We've seen, what, 92, 9,300 RPM on telemetry?
Whoa, that's big numbers here, boys. Them old valve trains up there rattling.
But I promise you, we may be seeing single file right now. Get about 40 or 50 to go. Yesterday in the ARCA race, an 80-lap race, a very short race, we had them 3 wide over there in the tunnel.
Wow.
Tim Steele winning that race.
I don't mind going in there 3 wide if I'm on the inside.
Exactly.
Tony Stewart might have just got against the rear bumper of Casey Atwood there.
Now, I was talking about Casey Atwood. I was telling you a quick story. Ray Evernham, his car owner, told me last night, said Casey ran up to the motorhome last night about 7 o'clock and said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it. Ricky Craven, the 32 car, is having problems. But anyhow, he said, I didn't mean to do it. Ray said, what's wrong, Casey? What's wrong? He said, I promise you I wasn't doing anything wrong. He said, well, tell me what's wrong. He said, I blew the motor up in my rental car.
Oh, no.
Said it's about 2 miles out there, and he had ran all the way from where it was sitting.
That sounds like a kid. Honest, Dad, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, Ricky Craven in OTIDE is headed for pit road. By the way, did I ever tell you how they got that number?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But not everybody was watching.
Okay,
So
well.
since you started it.
Well, it's 17, which was my number, 5, which was Ricky Rudd's number when he drove for Hendrick, and 10 when he drove his own car. They added them all up, and they got
32.
That's the Pep Boy quiz of the day.
You wish. Oh, I got a stumper for you.
Oh, I knew you would have, my man.
Ricky Craven, he goes to the garage area. We're hearing that the motor has expired on that Tide ride. Meanwhile, back at
Ranch, sitting on the front porch,
Boy.
singing with Blanche.
You got it.
We've seen this movie with Jeff Gordon leading, but there's a lot of good battling here in mid-pack, like Johnny Benson, Rusty Wallace, and Jimmy Spencer. Fox's rookie pit reporter yesterday on the ARCA event.
It's good. Jimmy, look at him on the high side. Got that run off to turn 1. And Jimmy, they were not happy with their race car. He told me, he said, Larry, this is a car we ran so well with at Fontana, but he said, I just can't get the front end pin. Lots of changes on that car, and here he's battling Johnny Benson. This is a battle for 6th.
Jimmy Spencer and friends raised a lot of money this Thursday up in Berwick, Pennsylvania for seriously ill and underprivileged kids in that area. It goes into a fund for folks in need, and they even lost a few golf balls.
Now, I bet Jimmy Spencer's going to lose a golf ball and probably break a few golf clubs in the process. You know, what do you think he's doing, Larry? Just sitting there kind of whistling a happy tune?
I don't know. He knows that 28 Texaco car is back there, but he's pulling away about a 10th a lap. It's up to 1.3 seconds.
Everybody else up on that radio grinding and talking to the crews, and I need this and I need that. Well, I just can't imagine what he's saying.
There's Ricky Rudd, 1.3 seconds back. Dale Earnhardt Jr., another 1.3 seconds back. And Dale Jarrett about a second behind Earnhardt Jr. And 5 seconds off the lead, Jeff Burton, the 5th place car. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. In the Pocono 500, presented on Fox by Subway. Jeff Gordon out in front of Ricky Rudd by 1.7 seconds. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just edging a little closer to Rudd. Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton now 6 seconds back in 5th. Jimmy Spencer at 6th. Rusty Wallace, Johnny Benson, Mark Martin, and Kenny Schrader, the top 10. Let's go to the garage. Dick Berggren.
Last week at Michigan, Ricky Craven had an alternator problem. They fixed it. He wound up finishing 35th. He's in the garage again, the hood up. Can we fix this one?
We're not going to fix this one. I contributed to this. Gosh, I missed a shift, and it just killed the engine. And it actually ran for a while, but you really got to take care of these things, and I just really messed up there and slipped into neutral and just exceeded the RPMs. It's really sad because the Tide team's doing such a great job, and we've had some great finishes, but today's not one of them.
How about this, an honest race driver who admits his own mistakes? Mike?
Kenny Schrader's passed Mark Martin and Johnny Benson.
Mike, you just think about this. You're going down this front straightaway at 200 miles an hour. You got to take one hand off the wheel and reach over and shift that thing up into third gear. It'd be pretty easy to miss the shift. A lot of times I wouldn't even shift. I'd just roll out the throttle because I didn't want to let go of the steering wheel.
Now, everybody here is on the lead lap except for Craven, who is in the garage. John Andretti was running right at the end of the top 10 before the caution, but he is now back at 42nd and tail end Charlie. There's Andretti coming into view. The reason he came back into the pits for a second stop on the 1-to-go lap as the field was coming around for green, and Andretti's got to get a little closer to be able to sniff a draft. You see Fox Track showing him 26 seconds off the lead.
In draft, the speeds, when you're talking about 160, 170, 180 miles an hour on these straightaways, draft definitely plays a role.
Oh, yeah, you can feel a big difference in that gear, and that's part of shifting gears. That's part of the reason why we went to that process, was to keep the things from turning out of the frame, because they will do it. You get a run on a guy down either straightaway here, and you're going to pick up a couple hundred RPM.
I'm sure a lot of cars have been wondering and watching that 18 car, Bobby Labonte, that changed right there, looking out the back of his car right now. Remember, 11 laps ago, he restarted this race leading with 2 right side tires. He's all the way back to 14th position, some 14 seconds back. 2 tires, I don't believe, is the way to go.
I don't think I'd try that, and I'm hearing him talk about I'm loose in, I'm loose off, I'm loose. He's not just loose a little bit, he's loose everywhere, Steve.
Yeah, TW, we just heard him say the very same thing. He said, I'm loose in, I'm loose in the center, and I'm loose off, which I would say constitutes everywhere but the straightaway.
It's a Clint Eastwood movie.
Loose.
Every which way but
loose. Every which way but loose. I like that.
And you know, another thing that's probably thrown these race teams a little bit of a curve. Yesterday's practice, very overcast, cloudy, even lost a little bit of practice due to rain. Today, the sun is out.
I know people at home get tired of us talking about that, but folks, you got to realize something. That drives us crazy. When we practice with the conditions one way, we love our car, hit the racetrack, the sun shining, it got slick and greasy, and we hate our car.
Well, here's the thing. If you're out in the hot sun all day, you feel differently than if you're out working in the yard in the cool shade all day. And folks, your race car, it has that same effect.
It does.
It feels the same way, depending on weather.
These cars are just like people.
The man that blew his rental car engine up last night, he just moved into the top 10. Casey Atwood in that 19 car. He just went by Mark Martin in the 6.
I'm thinking, he says, I better have me a banner day here because I got a lot of problems I got to take care of.
I'm sorry. That's not funny, but did he sign the CDW and the FBI and all those waiver things? And, well, we'll see.
Just look at the difference. Just since the race started some 42 laps ago, look at the track temperature. It's up 3 degrees. Air temperature's up 6 degrees. It's getting hotter all the time. These cars are gripping the racetrack less and less.
Yeah, I know. I hate that. I mean, could y'all turn the air conditioner down just a little bit? It's really getting cold in here.
And folks, at 3 o'clock this morning when we got here from Pocono, it was raining cats and dogs and mice, and it looked like it had never stopped, but a front went through. There's part of our cameraman will find anything. That's how hard it was raining anyway. And now we got a beautiful day for racing, but a green racetrack. Let's check with Matt.
Mike, during the first caution, Jeff Gordon was talking to his crew chief, Robbie Loomis. He said the track was very gray before the start and is looking for the track to change a lot during the race. And he said, just like Larry Mack was talking about the temperature changing, he said the track is beginning to change.
And the good teams, they got adjustability built into their cars. They can stay on top of it. They know what to do. They'll keep tightening that car up or freeing it up whichever way it needs to go all the way to the end.
Kurt Busch, the rookie, spun in practice on Friday coming out of turn 1, and then had a very rare thing happen in qualifying. He holed the oil pan from the outside in, not a rod escaping from the inside out.
What happens is you see him go down this long front straightaway right here into turn 1. Right down in turn 1, there's some bad bumps. We try to run the car soft to keep him down on the straightaway, but the car will bottom out about right there. See the bumps? And he bottomed the oil pan out and put a hole in it.
He's going to do it again. I just saw fire fly up under that bad boy like it's still hitting the ground. And what happens there is you soft springs, and you use a lot of brake here. Now, you got to really brake hard going down into turn 1. And that buries that nose, and that thing will get down on that cross member, or the oil pan in this case.
Jeff Gordon now with a 2.3 second lead. You're not watching last week's tape or the week before. I mean, he has been the dominant car here 3 weeks in a row.
And Rudd in hot pursuit, just like he was last week.
Gordon was the last driver to win 3 in a row. Now Wally Dallenbach has had quite a day driving for Andy Petrie. Is here. He battles the 22 of Ward Burton. This is for 19th place.
Yeah, that's a nice start. You know, he started last back in provisional land and has worked his way up. It's a good race car. Joe runs good at this racetrack in that car. Andy Petrie knows what to do. And he's getting a little rust off of him.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the car for a while.
And when Wally gets out of the car and Joe gets back in, Wally comes up to the TV booth starting 4th of July.
But, you know, in Wally's defense, and I mean, he's had some good runs here at Pocono. He qualified 3rd back in July of 97, finished 5th in July of 99. I mean, he stepped in that race car Friday. You get about an hour and a half's practice. He hadn't been in a race car all year. A little bit of time to get acclimated.
Yeah, he just tippy-toed out of the tulips yesterday and got in a race car.
A lot of talk the last few weeks with Shauna Robinson's debut about women in NASCAR, and one of those female drivers here in the modern era, Robin McCall, who is now Mrs. Wally Dallenbach. And a good one.
A pretty good race car driver. She ran the All-Pro Series and did a good job.
That's right. At 46 laps, coming up on quarter distance, Jeff Gordon leads by 2.5 seconds over Ricky Rudd. You're watching the Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway. Caution is out for the 3rd time at Pocono. Debris on the Long Pond straightaway between turns 1 and 2 has now brought everyone to pit road. That caution caught Ron Hornaday in the pits, and he went a lap down. Steve?
Jimmy Spencer, the 26 in the pits, are going to get 4 tires. Jimmy says he's got a little push to the car, so they'll make an air pressure adjustment to the left rear. Left side tires going on to Dick Berggren.
Deck man John Bryan hustled the crew just before Ricky Rudd came down pit road, and they have just clicked off a great pit stop. To Matt.
The leader of the race, Jeff Gordon, the top of your screen. They made an air pressure adjustment. He's down and away. He will beat the 28 off pit road as the 99 drag races out as well. A slight air pressure adjustment. He was a little bit loose up off the corner.
Pit stop cycle through under caution. NASCAR picking up some other metal debris out on the short chute between the tunnel turn and turn 3. Now watch Brett Bodine coming out.
Yikes. Not a good thing. We saw that happen to Jeff Gordon at Charlotte, and it ruined his day.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a lot this year. The crew chief of Brett Bodine, Mike Hillman, he's got to be watching for traffic coming down pit road. He's the one that can keep that driver out of trouble.
And this road is wide enough, pit road's wide enough, we shouldn't have that happen here.
Oh, it's 8 lanes wide. You bet. 48 laps complete here at Pocono.
Fox, glad to have you with us for Pocono 500, presented by Subway. Fast and Furious, beginning the long journey. Dale Earnhardt Jr. bluffing into the pits. And Jeremy Mayfield, defending champ, with a transmission problem, trying to ride it out. And Earnhardt Jr. battling here with Ricky Rudd. We see Bobby Labonte having problems. And Jeff Gordon going for his 3rd straight win overall, his 4th career win at Pocono, taking the lead. And then Earnhardt Jr. coming back for the lead, Jeff Hammond, and then Ricky Rudd. So it's basically been a Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and a Ricky Rudd battle so far.
Yes, it has, Chris. But one thing I find very interesting here, we see the pit stops again coming into play. Jeff Gordon beat him off of pit road, I think, by being further down pit road. But if you'll notice, Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, and what happened to Earnhardt Jr., he was up there in the top 5. All of a sudden, he finds himself back in 10th place because of a poor pit stop, as well as he's got damage to the side of his race car after contact with Brett Bodine because of a bad pit stop.
3 cautions, 4 different leaders. Gordon has led since lap 29. They're getting ready to go green. Let's go back upstairs.
Stacy Compton's worked his way into the top 5, and Dave Blaney into the top 10. As we restart here at Pocono, we'll give you a chance to crank up the sounds of all this horsepower.
32,000 horsepower total.
That's all in the 24 car.
third in the running order. Stacy Compton pitted on the last lap of yellow, so fell out of that 4th place to the back on the restart.
I want to think back to something that Jeff Gordon said at Fontana after the race. He was a little upset that Rusty Wallace was outrunning him down the straightaway, particularly, that Rusty had that much more power. He's one home Rick Hendrick's operation. They went to work, and I know he came to Michigan, and he's here today. He's got a lot of steam under the hood now. He didn't like that, getting outrun like that down the straightaway. They've answered the call.
Looking outside.
Riding with Rusty. Good look in his mirror. He comes up off the corner onto the front straightaway. Jimmy Spencer goes by. Jeff Burton up in the top 5. Let's go to his pit, Matt.
Mike, Jeff Burton gained 2 positions on pit road, but he just lost one on the racetrack. He had a 13.5-second pit stop. Frank, a great stop. How is that race car?
The car's not that bad. You know, obviously the guys are all jacked up, wanting to win one for Father's Day here today. I got some added pressure on me. My good friend Mike Olson won his 2nd straight Busch North race up north, so he's putting pressure on us down here. So we're trying to get the Sitco car pretty good here today. Not a top 5 car. Hopefully we can just hang on there and see what happens at the end.
Today.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. had been loose before that pit stop after the altercation on pit road, in which he came together with Brett Bodine.
Trouble over the tunnel.
On the racetrack.
Over the tunnel. Lots of cars everywhere. Big wreck.
Brett Bodine, Jason Leffler, Steve Park.
That's what happens over that tunnel.
Matt Kenseth, John Andretti, damage. Ward Burton's the car stopped in the middle of the racetrack.
Well, once a car gets sideways over that tunnel, it just blocks the whole racetrack. Can't see. You come into that turn kind of blinded anyway.
Well, lots of damage to the front end rear of Ward Burton's car. They'll have to get that front end fixed. He wouldn't even be able to keep up the speed out here on this fast racetrack.
It's hard to tell who all got serious damage. Certainly the 77 has a lot of damage on it.
Robert Presley.
22 car, Burton.
Got Subway on that car. Potentially a sponsor for this car in the future.
Jerry Nadeau.
And there's
damage. And Steve Park pretty torn up. Brett Bodine also.
In the 11 car. Brett having a great run here.
Oh, goodness.
John Andretti.
The 43. Let's see if we can see what happened. Wally Dallenbach's got some damage, or some damage on the 10 car.
Johnny Benson.
Lots of cars involved. See if we can see what happened here. We're coming across the tunnel. Brett Bodine gets sideways, smokes up the tires. Nobody can see where they're going. They don't know where he's going. They're into the smoke.
They start stacking up.
And you see right now what the driver sees. Nothing. He's in that smoke. He doesn't know where the cars are. He's trying to get the spotter to talk to him.
Steve Park hard into the guardrail on the inside in the 1 car.
Here we come, and the 11 car just gets loose over the tunnel turn. There happens a lot. Stays in the throttle, smoke in the rear tire, spinning around, and of course every time he goes around, he's just making more smoke and blocking the racetrack.
And Darrell, that's such a fast corner. You're carrying so much speed, you're just barely off the throttle.
Steve Park is the car right behind Brett Bodine. From Johnny Benson of Valvoline Pontiac.
And with that much smoke, spotter way up on the front straightaway can't do you a whole lot of good.
No, I can't tell you what the feel. You know, I've said through the years, I feel like the tunnel turn at Pocono is one of the most dangerous turns in racing, because you're down that straightaway at 190 miles an hour. That's a 90-degree turn. It's blind when you come around there, and if something happens, you don't have anywhere to go.
You saw where Michael bounced across the roads of the infield. That's the entrance to the infield road course.
Yeah, here's Michael's car right here. You can see him out the back of the 77.
Oh, and he got with Benson.
Of course, you see these cars going through this grass.
I'm over here cutting grass, but I'm all right.
And the grass is wet. It's rained here for the last 24 hours, and you couldn't get no traction.
Now, here comes the 1 car down pit road. He's got lots of damage.
A little bit there on Bill Elliott's nose.
Elliott.
At least 11 cars are involved on this crash at lap 54. Coming over the tunnel turn. It all happens behind the leaders, and we'll be right back to Pocono after this.
The flamethrower.
14 cars in all received some kind of damage in that accident. Ward Burton, Robert Presley, Brett Bodine. There's John Andretti being pushed back. His teammate Buckshot Jones was also in it. Jerry Nadeau, Steve Park. In fact, there's a whole list. 14 cars in all received some kind of damage when Brett Bodine's car went sideways coming out of turn number 2.
Let's see if we can see anything. We got some good shots here. Let's see if we can see anything that happens to Bodine's car. He's back there in the turn. See him back there with Park right on him. I'm thinking that might have loosened him up. Going around. Maybe Dick Bergen, you down in his pits, what are they saying?
Well, it's what Bill Elliott said, Darrell, and Bill Elliott keyed the radio and told his crew that he thought a left rear tire went down on Brett Bodine's car. There has been radio conversation today about debris on the racetrack, and that may have cut that left rear tire. Now, Brett Bodine has finished 20 races in a row. That's more than anybody else in Winston Cup, and so Mike Hillman and the rest of the gang are hard at work at this car. That's a record they don't want to spoil. This guy starts a race, he intends to finish it. They're going to have a lot of work. The hood is broken, radiator is broken. Hillman is going to have to replace that. A lot of sheet metal damage here. Brett sits behind the wheel, window net up, because he does not want to talk to anybody right now.
Well, he had a little casual contact on pit road with Dale Jr., but that's a little more than casual there. That may be casualty. Got a couple of casualties down in the Hollywood Hotel. What you guys doing?
Well, Darrell, we're just taking a break. We're glad all the drivers are okay. You know, Jeff, the racing next weekend, NASCAR goes to wine country, and the people up in Sears Point sent this over. When you talked about wine country, that was Darrell whining about not being in the car driving.
Unfortunately, that was Darrell whining about things that we can't do nothing about. You know, I mean, saying, Darrell,
but
wish you were here, though.
We have the first of 2 road courses coming up.
Y'all are a couple of whining cheesers. I knew that.
And we have now. Jeff's our designated driver because Darrell, as you told me that you make a right. This is, of course, right. Cindy from Sears Point wanted to make sure everybody knows that this is a track where you make a right turn.
Jeff, take off those boots and put on your pumps.
We know you guys haven't seen this yet this year, and so we wanted to give this to you to be able to study it and give it to the driver.
And remember,
we need to give it to Darrell.
That's right. And remember, Darrell,
I'm a little right. I'll admit I'm a little to the right.
Look, you already opened this. Don't drink and drive. You might spill something. Next, the Hollywood Hotel will be on the road to Sonoma and Sears Point. Friday, you'll see qualifying on Fox Sports Net at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. And remember, Jeff Gordon, he's a 49er fan, grew up in the area. He has dominated this race. NASCAR this morning on Sunday, the Dodge 350. You'll see the race 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific on Fox in the pre-race show, of course. And then NASCAR Victory Lane wraps everything up at 9 o'clock on Fox Sports Net.
You know, we're finally we're finally going to go somewhere.
We're branching out.
We're finally going to go somewhere where Chris will fit in. You know, I like that.
That's right.
That's the Hollywood Motel, I think it is. All right, here's to a great season, by the way, on Fox. We've enjoyed a great race today, and next week when we wrap things up on Fox as far as our NASCAR coverage here at the Hollywood Hotel.
I think the one on the left was the Savignon Blanc, and they had a nice glass of Merlot.
I'm fruity, it says.
That's what it says.
Couldn't agree more. That's what Chris asked the goodies guy, you know, with the headache powders.
Yeah.
He said, these would be pretty good, but could you make them in flavors like Tutti Frutti or passion fruit or something?
Here's how they're going to restart, Darrell. Jeff Gordon in front, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Burton in 4th, Jimmy Spencer 5th, 6th Dale Jr., then Kenny Schrader, or 6th Rusty, then Kenny Schrader and Dale Jr.
This is Dale Earnhardt Jr. now, a little bit of trouble here, going up to speed, coming to the restart.
All clear, all clear.
Going down the front stretch.
Probably won't shift it this time, Larry, on the restart. You don't get up enough speed.
Right, he's in third gear now, and he'll run it all the way back to the start-finish line. Dick Bergman, how about Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Well, Larry, he is having trouble shifting that car on restarts only. It seems to be okay when the car is up to full song, but on restarts, third gear is a problem. He is having to use the clutch.
For the lead, for the first time today, Dale Jarrett, and a big cheer from the grandstand.
Oh, yeah, and that Yates Power, there's 2 of them right there, 88 and 28. They got the steam on the hood. We know that. See him get 3 wide right there. That's just because Rudd had to check up a little bit for Gordon. Lost a little momentum.
Jeff Burton, 99, takes advantage.
Look at Jimmy Spencer in a 26 car. He's been working the high side of these corners.
Oh, Spence is running everywhere he goes. He's up high on the outside, and I know people aren't expecting him to be there. Car must be tight, but it's working out there.
Of course, Jimmy Spencer, he has Robert Yates Racing engines in that car as well.
Yes, he does, and that car right behind him is the 2 car. Been awfully strong down those long straightaways, too.
saw Jimmy drive that car a little deeper
watch
in
him
the
go
corner.
high right
He
here,
washed up right here, but he's been keeping his momentum. Back to the throttle.
He's getting back
good
in
off the corner up high.
He's riding the cushion. And that little bit of damage that Dale Jr. got in the left side there, that's a good place to damage the car.
If you
push that door in,
that's not bad.
Yeah, get that body out of the way.
Through the tunnel turn, he's going to take the position away from Rusty Wallace in that Miller Lite car.
Now, they always told me if you had the right side beat up, you had a good day. If you had the left side beat up, you didn't have such a good day.
I didn't see many drivers' doors tore up. Not by design, anyhow.
Kenny Schrader also picked up a spot, moved up to 8th, and Casey Atwood has come to 9th. Behind this group, Tony Stewart's back up in the top 10. There's a look at Stewart, the Home Depot Pontiac.
They've not run this car this year. This is the car that he won Homestead with the end of last year.
Yeah, he just dominated that race with that race car, and you'd think a very similar racetrack.
Ooh, we had a look inside Casey.
A little bit of give and take there. He could have tried to drive in there, but he saw Casey Atwood in the 19 come down early in the race. 59 laps, good move.
Here's what he saw. See that yellow in that rear bumper? Said, I better cut that kid some slack.
And yellow on the rear bumper designates or signifies it is a rookie.
Well, John Andretti was one of the 14 cars in that wreck. He's gone to the garage. Steve?
And they're working on the car, the number 43. John, what happened, and can you get back in the race?
I don't know if we'll get back in. We're going to work awful hard on it. But Cheerios Dodge, we were running up front, and then we came in for a pit stop, and we had a shock absorber going bad, and had to change it and had to go all the way to the back and catch a field back up, and then the caution came out, thought we were going to be in pretty good shape, and they started crashing over there, and my spotter said stop. Well, it's pretty hard to just stop because guys will just run in the back of you. I mean, that's happened to us several times this year, and I didn't stop, and I should have, and when I came through the smoke, I could see guys crashing, but the 22 was stopped completely across the track, and I ran into him.
Tough day.
Ward Burton out, Brett Bodine, Ron Hornaday Jr. also behind the wall as a result of that crash at lap 54.
It's a battle for 15th, looking out of Bobby Labonte's MBNA car, looking back at Matt Kenseth in the 17 car.
And they've worked on that 18 car on every pit stop. I've been listening to Bobby a little bit. He keeps complaining about being loose, but I bet you they get her tightened up before the day's over with, because loose early is not bad.
Let's pick up Kevin Harvick's day back at 18th position. A good wrench Chevy working on Todd Bodine right there, and his teammate Mike Skinner right behind.
Of course, the winner from Kentucky's Busch National race last night.
Big winner last night.
Dominated.
Oh, 24 donuts.
And of course, this is his first start at Pocono. This is a brand new race car. They came up here and tested a couple of weeks ago. And when you come up here and test with a rookie, what's your main goal, DW?
Take the car back home in one piece.
Exactly. Seat time.
Schrader battling Rusty. That's for 7th place.
Schrader's been right there, you know, ever since the start of the race. Got a pretty good car today, but so does Casey.
Yeah, Rusty just took him in turn 1, and now Casey has a look.
Casey's having a pretty banner day here for that young man.
Came up here and tested as well about the same time a lot of the other rookies were up here. That's the main group that tested up here, is guys that have not ran this racetrack before.
Uh-oh, look out, look out.
Battle for the lead.
Lighten up that afterburner, Darrell.
That's it.
Crowd loving this side-by-side battle. You saw Jeff Gordon moved away from him on the straightaway. That keeps the drag from being up on the race car. When you're side by side, both cars are getting a lot of drag on them. Won't go down the straightaway as fast.
Whoa, he slips up.
Gordon drove it in hard, didn't he? And he got her up the hill a little bit. But everybody's running off of turn 2. They're a lot higher than they normally do.
And the more rubber we get up there, the better the cars will grip up there, and they'll be able to make that pass and keep that momentum up high.
The lap speeds are down about a second of what we normally run here. I guess that's a product of the harder tire that they're running this time. But they're about a second slower per lap than what we normally run here.
Now, I thought those two side by side, it might bring Jeff Burton right to them, but Burton continues to just hold that same margin before they all went off into turn 1.
Yeah, Gordon made the pass, you know, pretty quickly, got by and didn't leave a lot of drafting room there for anybody behind him.
Well, while Jeff Burton sits 3rd, his older brother Ward got caught up in that big wreck. Steve?
And he's taking a look at the damage to the 22 car. Ward, can you get back in the race, and what happened?
Get back out there. Somebody turned the 11 car around. Slowing up, seeing where everybody was going to go. Somebody drilled me from behind. It's unfortunate, but I tell you, Caterpillar 22 Dodge wasn't running anywhere where it needs to. But it's what happens when you run the middle of the pack.
Tough day for Ward Burton. Let's show it to you again, and you'll see his car end up right in the middle of the racetrack when it's all done.
And lots of damage. There's so much smoke, you can't see anything. I mean, it's just like driving into a bank of fog.
He was about the 6th car in, Darrell, and there he comes to a halt
and then he
gets hit.
Get hit by John Andretti and just killed his car. And that was a subtle message that Ward just sent to not only everybody else, but to his crew. Shouldn't have been running in the middle of the pack, wasn't running that good. Somebody needs to get going here. I don't think Ward was real happy.
Memorable Todd Parrott quote from years back. When you race back there with the squirrels.
Yeah, guess what?
Yep. And that's what happened.
Or I like if you stick your finger in a rattlesnake's mouth, you can't get mad because it bites you.
Well, true enough. Kyle Petty having a look inside of Bill Elliott. As with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Father's Day must be such a tough day for the Pettys.
It really is. They named a garage here at Pocono Speedway in honor of his son, Adam, which I thought was a great tribute. You know, I think that's a great tribute. I'm sure that Kyle was very pleased and flattered by that.
Dr. Mattioli, who owns the racetrack, called Kyle and said, here's something we'd like to do if your family thinks it would be appropriate and okay. And Kyle and Richard, the whole Petty family, kind of pulled together on it and thought that would be a nice honor, and it certainly is.
And the Mattioli family, Dr. Joe and Rose Mattioli, you won't find nicer people that have this facility up here in the Poconos.
They've done a lot for a lot of drivers. They had a great tribute for me here last year in my retirement and had a great dinner, and a lot of people came. It was very, very fun.
And when they first opened this track, Darrell, Richard Petty, who was one of the very few stock car drivers even known in this part of the country, helped the Mattiolis do a lot of promotional work to help draw people to this racetrack. So there's a very long-standing bond between those families here at Pocono. 65 laps are complete, and Jeff Gordon has a narrow lead over Dale Jarrett in the Pocono 500, presented on Fox by Subway.
Where NASCAR fans want to be, by Armor All Protectant Wipes. Armor All shine and protection now and away. And by Kellogg's, the official breakfast food of NASCAR.
Watch this, Mike. Watch this. I'm under you. I'm under you. I'm backing the gas. Here I come.
Dale Jarrett for the lead.
Got Gordon on the high side. Going to win the drag race down the front stretch here. Takes the lead at the start-finish line.
I love a brown car.
We're at Pocono, Pennsylvania, NASCAR's most unique speedway. That long, looping, flat turn number 3, the steeply banked turn 1, the fast turn, the tunnel turn, and here they come for the lead again. And Gordon,
all right,
that lap.
And now they are dragging the 28 and the 99 up to them now by this side-by-side racing.
Yep. Coming over
the 4 cars.
Coming over turn 1 last time, Ricky Rudd got past Jeff Burton for 3rd place, and now it's a 4-car battle for the lead. Here goes Jarrett again.
Yeah, Gordon pushes up off of 2 there. Can't make the pass. Got a little good momentum off of that high side back there. But looks like Dale's car is a little bit better over the tunnel and into turn 3.
And when we see that so much here, Darrell, one car will be a little better in one corner, one car will be a little better in another. It's all about a little bit of a compromise.
That's it. See how fast you get into turn 3. It's a little short shoot across there. Doesn't feel like you're going all that fast. 178 miles an hour.
Yeah, almost 180.
I mean, it doesn't. Here we got to pass again. He's under him again right here. He's really good in turn 3. And that's a product of getting over the tunnel real good.
Look, Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, the Texaco car, he keeps going back and forth. He's trying to figure out who's going to take the lead. He wants to stay with him. He's with his teammate right now in that UPS car.
If I was driving for Robert Yates and my teammate was trying to take the lead, I believe I'd get behind him.
Look at the run he gets through the middle. He's going to make it 3 wide.
Jarrett got bobbled a little bit when he went down in that corner, hit those bumps we were talking about, got a little loose, opened the door.
Side by side into the tunnel turn.
Is Rudd stuck there, or is he in a good spot?
Oh, he's on the inside. He's going to take the position.
And he's going to bring Jeff Burton into 99 with him as well right here. If Dale Jarrett does not get back in line, he will up the short chute. But Jeff Burton keeps coming into 99.
He had a good run coming into the tunnel because they were too wide in front of him.
That's a timing corner. You lay back off a guy, getting the gas early, and when he shoves up, you put that drive under him.
Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt Jr., that 8 Budweiser car, he's coming on.
Yeah, they're pulling, these cars running side by side, they're pulling him right back up there. And that's what he needed because he was he was pretty far behind, and these guys racing each other has opened the door for him.
Behind them, Jimmy Spencer, Rusty Wallace, Kenny Schrader, Casey Atwood, Tony Stewart, the rest of the top 10.
How about Casey Atwood? He's up to 9th place. Little guy's doing a great job today. Needs to blow up his rental car every week.
I won't ask what make he rented. Might be problems with Terry Labonte. Might have lost a cylinder, it sounded like, as he came by. He's in 33rd position.
And his teammate, though, out to almost a second lead over second place Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, see, once they stopped racing side by side, got lined back up, that allowed Gordon to pull back out to a pretty comfortable lead.
But Dale Earnhardt Jr., you're right. He's been brought to that front pack. And those 5 cars have a bit of a breakaway on Jimmy Spencer. Look at the gap here. Back to Spencer.
Look at the front end of the 24 car right here. Look at it. It looks like the tape configuration is not right. You see the tape right there? What they're doing there, they're trying to plant that left front quarter. So important here to keep that left front down in the ground. That'll make that car turn. Plus, the more tape you can run on the front end, the faster it'll go down the straightaway.
Plus, look, Larry, down and look at that left front fender itself. That baby is bowed out there. It's got a ducktail on it.
All about front downforce.
And that puts a tremendous amount of downforce on the front of these cars when you pull that fender out there like that. So it's got the tape over here, like Larry said, and then you got that left front fender that holds that corner down, keeps that car nice and level.
You would never take your car home from the body shop looking like that. You'd think they'd messed it all up, but for aerodynamics.
You would if it run 200 miles an hour.
You bet.
And it's such a compromise here at Pocono because the more you pull the left front fender, here we have Matt Kenseth, the 17 car. This is a battle for 13th as he goes underneath Dave Blaney, the 93 car.
Blaney's been hanging in there pretty well. And that Dodge has been a fairly consistent performer. They've done a pretty good job with that car.
Especially at the higher speed racetracks. But I was talking about front downforce. Tape, you buy the best of both worlds. You get downforce plus you get drag reduction. But the left front fender, you pull it out, puts downforce, but it adds drag to that car, hurts it on the straightaways. We're always talking about downforce, and we want to give you a little bit of a clearer picture what downforce actually is. This is something we study a lot in the wind tunnel. This is how we know how it acts. Now we talk about front downforce. Front downforce is the area on the front end, the air pressure, fenders, front grill opening across the hood. Rear downforce predominantly is all about that rear spoiler. You try to get as much as you can in both ends, but it's about balance. You can't have too much of one end than you can the other.
Yeah, it's got to be balanced, and that's what happens when you open the grill up. That's why if you could race these cars taped up solid, you would. Absolutely. But you've got to have a cooling compromise, and therefore you pick up a little lift in the front end, so you got to balance it out.
And they always qualify with them taped up solid because you're only running 1 or 2 laps. But when you're going to run a full race, you open the front end. How you try to overcome that is pull the front fender width out.
74 laps complete of the 200 they'll run today at Pocono. And in a while, we'll be looking at pit stops, maybe when we come back.
Leaderboard after lap 77 of the Pocono 500, presented by Subway. Glad to have you with us on Fox. Doing its own laps around the track to bring us a view from the top of all the high-speed action here below, the Fuji Film blimp. And you see the beautiful skies behind here in Pennsylvania. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the Braves visit New York to take on Mike Piazza and the Mets in a National League East showdown. Or you'll see Alex Rodriguez taking the Rangers as they battle the defending AL West champion A's. Some will see other regional action. It begins with This Week in Baseball Saturday at 12:30 Eastern and Pacific. Check local listings for the game and time in your area. Watch the entire baseball season unfold across the Fox networks, including the All-Star Game and the World Series. We've got an all-star lineup here. Jeff Hammond, as we see Jeff Gordon out in front. And when I spoke with Dale Jarrett during qualifying, he said the rib still bothered him, and it would do him well to rest him, but he almost acted indignant. I can't afford to do that with the points race. He almost was offended that after 9 weeks of leading the points that Jeff Gordon had replaced him.
Well, I'm sure he does, because he feels like all of a sudden a man is taking advantage of his problem. But it may work in his advantage, because I know how Dale Jarrett is. He's such a competitor. He'll take this situation, as you said, Dale will take this and he'll think, well, Jeff Gordon, I'll just show you how tough I am. And he'll mount a charge right here. He'll hang tough, and it'll work. And we got a crash right there with the 44 car.
Buckshot Jones. And that's like Jason Leffler, who was involved in that earlier 14-car wreck.
Yeah, both of those cars were involved in the early one, and that will bring us under caution.
And again, over the tunnel turn, Mike. I think it must be getting slicker and slicker over there, which it does.
These cars were battling for 30th position, still on the lead lap.
Actually, that's how the turn went. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong picture.
Fifth caution of the day, lap 78. Buckshot Jones and Jason Leffler, and Buckshot took a hard hit straight on into that inside wall at the tail end.
But I know for sure that Buckshot wears the Hans device. Been wearing it now for a couple of months.
Boy, I'm glad, too, because that's one of those direct hit-on licks.
Talked at length Friday with Bobby Hutchins, the Richard Childress team engineer that also has a restraint device that he's worked on, the Hutchins device, and that will be commercially available beginning Monday to short track and road racers and other folks interested, as well as the Hans device.
We did see the net come down on Buckshot Jones's car.
Ooh. Boy, Leffler just drove right up into the side of Buckshot. And watch this.
Ooh, wow.
And
it's not over.
And the thing about Leffler's car, he already had damage, and that probably just didn't, the car probably took off on him, Larry.
But you know what I like about the shot that Buckshot took? That's guardrail. It gives a little bit. That concrete don't move.
Yeah, that's true. But watch this. I think this is just where arrow push. The car got up there, and he didn't have the downforce that he needed to make the front stick.
Step high.
Man, and he just drove right into it.
Good job, bud. Good job. No yelling yet.
Go right into the side of Buckshot. It's unfortunate. Two young guys there, both trying to make a name for themselves in the Winston Cup Series. I haven't seen either driver get out, have you?
I saw the net drop down on Buckshot Jones's car. He dropped it down on his own. See the net down on Jason Leffler's car as well.
And that is a signal to rescue workers that I'm okay. I'm conscious and I'm okay. When they drop that window net, that's a signal that I'm okay and we're going to get out of here all right.
And everybody's on pit road, all the leaders, here at lap 79. There you see Buckshot Jones. He'll do the mandatory ride to the infield care center just to be checked out.
Our 7-Eleven triple pit split. Dick Berggren.
Ricky Rudd on pit road right now, going to try to adjust the car, add some wedge to it. He says that the thing is just a little bit too sensitive. He can't use all the throttle he wants. To Matt.
Todd Gantz ordered out of the left front. They made an air pressure adjustment in the right rear, up half a pound. He said his car was just still a little bit loose when cars were behind him, but he was all right by himself.
Gordon beats him out again.
Consistency.
I like that pit that Gordon's got, Darrell. These pits are big, and he's right there about lap pit 9. And remember, speed limit is checked by lines on pit road. When he leaves his pit, he can run wide open. He cannot get caught speeding. You can't get up to 55 miles an hour.
Good point, man. Show these lines.
These are the lines.
These are those timing
this is
lines.
where they clock, right here. Jeff Gordon's pitting right in here somewhere. When he leaves, he's wide open. If you're back up here somewhere, you've got to watch your speed all the way through here because every one of these segments is where they clock you. I like the pit he's got. And it just goes forever. Pit road's about a half the length of the front straightaway, 55 miles an hour. But again, I like that pit selection.
Yeah, this is the longest straightaway. These is probably the longest pits.
You see all of these lines? That's how NASCAR clocks the cars, is they know how running 55 miles an hour, the length it should take you to get through each segment. If you're faster, you're caught speeding on pit road.
If they'd had lights, we could have landed here last night coming back from Pocono.
We could have. I'm sure people have at one time or another.
And here's Jason Leffler climbing out of his car. And good to see that he is okay. Took a while to get the safety gear unhooked.
Man, where's he running off to? Is he going to... I think he's trying to get over where Buckshot is. Maybe he's going to... He left his helmet on. That might have been a smart move. You get in the ambulance with somebody you run over, I think it'd be wise to leave your helmet on.
That could be a long ride to the infield care center.
80 laps, 200 miles complete in the Pocono 500.
The lead changes, 35 cars on the lead lap, and among those cautions, some spectacular crashes so far, as you saw Jason Leffler and Buckshot Jones walk away moments ago. And there is a look at some of the wreckage as they take care of their cars. And this is not a summer rerun, this race. Michigan, Dover, Jeff Gordon, the way he has been dominating, is the guy out in front again with Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett's teammate from Yates Motor Racing, Ricky Rudd, right behind him. Jeff, I guess we're coming up on some pit strategies as we saw moments ago with the time. Let's take a look and examine. You saw that we had terrific times, at least for Jeff Gordon once again.
Well, the pit crews, we keep talking about it week in and week out, how good these guys are and how good they need to be. Getting off pit road, again, gets that driver's attitude right, keeps him up front. He doesn't have to overuse his car, to pass somebody. These guys are really making it tough on their competition. They beat them off the racetrack as well as on the racetrack. So they complement each other so well, Chris. I mean, it just helps to keep this motivation going. We're going to wear that word out, but that's part of this game right now. You've got to keep that motivation going.
And part of the teamwork that it makes a driver like Jeff Gordon so successful. Let's check in with Steve Burns.
Yeah, Chris, Jimmy Spencer from Berwick, Pennsylvania, having a good day here at Pocono. He said, I'm just a little bit too free. The adjustments they made put some air back into the left rear and took one round of wedge out of the right rear. Dick Berggren.
Teammates Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett have run together all day long. One will be a little bit ahead of the other, then the other will be ahead of him. Interestingly enough, they started the day with a little bit different setup, according to Robert Yates, but both are experiencing the same problem. Loose, they both fixed it in a little bit different way. To Matt.
Dick, Jeff Burton will restart from the 4th position. They took on 4 tires and made an air pressure adjustment. 1 pound out of the right rear tire. But the biggest concern for this number 99 team, Jeff reported right before that caution, low voltage reading on the voltage meter. So Frank Stoddard, his crew chief, told him to turn off a number of the fans. But under that caution, they did turn on the rear end cooling fan to try to cool that rear end. Right now, though, that is a major concern for the 99.
There are 35 cars on the lead lap as we get set for this restart.
Casey Atwood in that 19 car, he's up to 6th position after the pit stops. We're going green.
Riding with Atwood behind Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I tell you, he's got a fast car, and he's getting ready to dive out behind Dale Jr. there and take. I guess he decided better. Thought he was going to take a look to the inside.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's going to take a look to the inside of Jeff Burton. The 99 car headed off into turn 1.
That may be why Casey stayed behind Dale Jr. Probably told him to put his hand up and say, come on, bud, follow me, and we'll pass this guy.
Gordon and Jarrett on point. Jarrett, the inside, the favored line, heading for the tunnel.
Seems like Jarrett's car's a little bit better on new tires and restarts than maybe Gordon's is. Seems like Gordon's car gets a little bit better as they go along.
They touched just a little bit. Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, they're going to be 3 wide, headed off into turn 3.
Yeah, those front 2 had to tiptoe through the tunnel. Here comes Rudd.
And the flames prevail.
Yeah, Dale had to lift up just a teeny bit with that contact, open the door for Ricky to come right on by. But here he comes back to the inside. Only thing that's doing is bringing cars behind them up there to them and letting the 24 car drive away. And I'm sure they're talking about that. Come on, man, let's get in line. We don't want that cat to get too far away.
Looking out the back of Dale Jarrett's UPS car, the Yates Racing teammate.
I can't get over it right behind these guys, the line that Jimmy Spencer's running. He's going to be up against the wall here before it's over with.
That has brought Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton right into the fray.
They're going to have the line headed off into that turn 2. Get Ricky kicked up to the high side. He's got to fall back in behind right in front of Jimmy Spencer in the 26 car. What a great run. Jimmy Spencer's having started way back in 27th position, and he's in 6th right now.
And he's running places that nobody else is going.
No. All right, Jason Leffler's been released from the care center. He's with Steve.
Let's find out if he's all right. Jason, are you okay, and what happened?
I'm fine, Singular Dodge was running pretty good, and we got tore up in that first wreck, and that deal with 44, it looked like he was pushing, he just peeled off the ball, and I had to run underneath when we banged together. He hit pretty hard, so he's all right, but, it's a shame for the car. We had a good car today, and for the crew and everything, so hopefully we'll just patch it back together and get back out there.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Had a career best at, Dover. Finished in the top 15.
And it's always fun to listen to the different perspectives that the drivers take of what they feel and what they think happened and then what we saw, and it's always fun.
Darrell, last year's winner, Jeremy Mayfield, has gone to the garage. They've been fighting transmission trouble. He's gone to the garage area. Meanwhile, Ron Hornaday Jr. has replaced the rear end and is back in the race.
Looking at Dale Jarrett in the 88 car. This is the same car these guys had at Michigan last week. They were not very happy with that race car. Todd Parrott told me lots of aero body changes on that race car this week. Decided to bring it back here. It's a car he ran at Las Vegas. But we talk about Dale Jarrett's ribs. I talked to Dale on Friday night. They went to Kershaw, South Carolina, which is a road course, to kind of get tested up a little bit for Sonoma. And he said, Larry, all the shifting down there, I actually felt pretty good. And this is the best run he's had in several weeks since being injured back in Charlotte.
Yeah, it is. But you know something, you think about Jeff Gordon, Dover, Delaware, a 1-mile high-bank concrete racetrack, dominated. You go to Michigan, a 2-mile, relatively low-bank super speedway, he dominated. We're here at Pocono, a very odd racetrack. 3 different turns and long straightaways, and what's he doing today?
He's dominating.
He's dominating. That's a team that's on their game, man.
Sounds like a straightaway speed.
Let's don't look at this. I don't like this.
If we'll listen real close, we'll hear him shift here in just a second. Boom, 4th gear right there, just speed shift.
Yeah, you don't lift up off the throttle when you're going into 4th gear. You can just power shift it. Now you have to work with a little bit to downshift.
196 miles an hour off into that. Not a 90-degree corner, but more than a 90-degree.
Hard on the brakes, downshifting, going in there with one hand.
You know, been quite a day for the rookies. Casey Atwood up in 7th, Kurt Busch up in 10th. Never having seen this place, and a tough day for some veterans. Buckshot Jones is out of the care center. He's with Steve.
All right, thanks, Mike. Buckshot, you okay? Tell us about your race car.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't running as good as we needed to be, but we were just making changes, trying to bide our time, and just coming up off turn 1 was a little bit tight. It kind of got to the wall and got a little bit loose. No one got in the back of us. I think it's just a pure racing deal. You know, I hate it for us. First time we've been here, but I thought maybe we could come out and have a pretty good finish.
All right, thanks, Buckshot. Dale Jarrett making a move to the lead.
Down the front straightaway into turn 1 on the bottom side. No, Gordon stuffs it in there.
They got a friend, though, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that Budweiser car. He's up in the middle right on the back of Dale Jarrett.
I just can't believe how high these guys are running through that turn. Normally right around the inside, just hooking the left wheel on the white line. But they're making that high line work today.
And Earnhardt Jr. did the old high-low, and in on the high side, late apexed it, dropped it down the bottom.
Yeah, you can get back in the throttle, cut under the guy, take the line away, make the pass. That's the fun way to pass somebody. Say, ha-ha, thought you had me, didn't you?
Now, this is the shortest straightaway, 178. Right at 178 miles an hour, a little bit of brake.
Wreck 3.
Pick that throttle back up. How about it, Jeff Hammond?
Larry, I know you guys touched on it early on, but you know, this particular tire, the Winston Cup guys haven't seen this tire and tire combination this year. So that might be one of the reasons why they're able to run that higher line. A lot of the racetracks we've gone to with this new configuration have allowed an upper groove to come in, and the cars seem like they respond to that. This is a tire that will, you know, leave here from Pocono and go to Indy with, so it's going to be a really good test for a lot of these guys to get used to it.
And then the biggest thing, it's a harder tire, harder compound, not as much grip as the tire that we had ran here in the past, and a little bit slower.
Oh yeah, they're about a second. The lap speeds are about it. We're running lap speeds today that we ran here 7-8 years ago. So that's unusual, but that harder tire, the reason they run a higher line is it slides a little bit more. You drive in the corner with a lot of grip, you'll run right around the inside. But hard tire, go in, let the car slide up the hill, get back in the gas.
But as an observer, Darrell, I think the hard tire has made for better, more competitive racing.
By all means, you don't just drive the car off the tires. You got to work with the chassis, and the driver's got to play his role.
Go back to Tony Stewart's inboard here. I want to see him shift here. I think he maybe already had grabbed high gear, but I want to talk a little bit about the shifting here. 1984, Terry Labonte with Steve Mill as his crew chief. There he downshifted going into turn 1. They were one of the first ones to shift here. Everybody run up the pit road and said, man, them guys are shifting here. You can't shift here. And how they learned how to do it was Richie Evans ran a modified race here and dominated by shifting. And now everybody's shifting not only twice, but a lot of times 4 times on this race.
But what's interesting, Larry, is Evans did it in the modified with a Doug Nash 5-speed transmission. Winston Cup cars limited to 4 speeds. And Steve said they just couldn't. They tried it with Mark Martin a few years later, couldn't quite find the right combination of gears to make it work. From the time Evans pioneered it, it was 11 years until shifting really became the way to get around Pocono here in Winston Cup.
Now he's back on the front straightaway here. He reaches up to the gear shift. Boom, 4th gear right there. you don't even hardly back. You just grip the throttle a little bit, and then watch him going into turn 1. He's in high gear overdrive. Down in the middle of the corner. He'll reach up there. Back up into third gear. He'll pull third gear all the way back around to the start-finish line again.
Yeah, and you know, we won here in '92. I did, and I beat Dale Earnhardt, and we didn't shift at all that day. But that's kind of a thing of the past. You have to have so much gear to get across these short straightaways. You got to be able to shift today.
And that's 2 reasons why we call this place a roval.
A roval, exactly.
A road course oval, because you shift and because the radius and the bankings of the turns are all different. We're coming up on halfway in 9 laps, and Jeff Gordon is half a second in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton, and Ricky Rudd. Back to Winston Cup Racing on Fox today. The Pocono 500 presented on Fox by Subway Sandwiches. Mike Joy with Darrell Waltrip and Larry McReynolds watching Jeff Gordon lead Dale Earnhardt Jr. by just 0.8 of a second, with Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton looking in. For more on the race leader, Matt Yoakum.
Mike, the rapid Roman Richie Evans may be gone, but certainly not forgotten, especially by one member of the 24 team, Steve Berg, the head fabricator. Last spring, they were trying to turn around their struggling early season form, so they built a brand new race car for Talladega. Before it left the shop, Berge wrote number 61 in small numbers on the front bumper, hoping for some good luck, and it came. They won. The next brand new race car, he did the same thing. They won again. Then earlier this year, they did the same thing. A brand new race car for Las Vegas, put the 61 on it, and they won. But the streak came to an end at Atlanta when they lost by inches to Kevin Harvick. Guess what? They have a brand new race car here. 61s in the left front bumper. They're hoping for another victory.
I saw that Friday walking past the car in the garage and didn't know if it was some kind of measurement or something. I mean, I see that number. I think Richie Evans, but kind of neat to know that's why it was there.
Yeah, it is.
And it is a brand new race car. And I asked Robbie Loomis, I said, did you test this car anywhere? And he said, no. I said, did you take it to the wind tunnel? He said, many times.
Let's go back to about 18th place, where Jerry Nadeau, Dave Blaney, Kevin Harvick, and Robert Presley are battling along. And included in that group, Ted Musgrave, who was in the Jim Smith number 7 car this week.
I don't know what Ray did to Casey. I don't know what kind of message he left with him, but man, that cat's up to 6th place. And he's right there.
Looking for Presley back at Musgrave. Now, Mike Wallace is here walking around the garage, and the word is he is still employed by Ultra Motorsports. They intend to have him back in the car at Daytona for the Pepsi 400, but they wanted to try Musgrave here, who drives for them in the Truck Series, and they're going to have a road racer in the car at Sears Point, just to kind of help give the team, they think their baseline's off, give them another look at how things are going, and hopefully they can improve from there.
Like a second opinion.
Right. Now just ahead of Presley there is Harvick, who won last night in Kentucky, had a short night's sleep. His plane landed at Pocono about 2 o'clock this morning. And Blaney's just in front of him in the Bill Davis 93.
You know, and I don't mean to be critical by any means, but I believe they're using that kid up. I mean, they're running him too much. I mean, he's like a racehorse. He's going to wear out here before long. He's running. He's doing great in the Busch Series, winning races there. But I'm not so sure it's not affecting his performance on Sunday.
The month of July is going to be tough, Darrell. There's about 3 direct conflicts. I mean, the Winston Cup cars, boy, Robert Preston, the 77, real loose off the tunnel.
Call that a D-dive.
But they're all over the country with the Busch cars in one area, the Winston Cup cars in another. The month of July is going to be the telltale sign, Jeff Hammond.
Guys, I talked to Kevin this morning, and I know Darrell and I disagree on this part. I believe his youth and his exuberance as far as his success in the Busch deal is going to be very much going to help this, you know, kind of happen this year. I know it's a big strain on him, but I believe with the technology today and the fact that people understand how important it is to be able to, you know, put it all together as far as flights are concerned. He knows he needs to get some rest when he's on the airplane, eat right, stay in shape. I believe he can get it done, and he can probably, you know, write the record book on this. What do you think, Matt?
Well, Jeff, last night I did fly from Kentucky, which, by the way, Darrell, is a very beautiful speedway, to Pocono with Kevin Harvick, and Richard Childress is playing. And he brought that topic up because, you know, I won tonight. What do you think Darrell thinks about me pulling off the double here? He goes, I feel like, to me, I'm learning a lot more about this tire and about Winston Cup racing by running Bush. But he says, I can't wait until July to see if I can hold up under all the strenuous running that we're going to be doing. A lot of miles will be logged in July.
Now, Darrell, just for a second, he's half our age. Now, if you want to race at 25 years old on Saturday night, a big race, couldn't you just keep racing right on through till Monday morning?
Well, yeah, I used to do. I mean, when we were coming back, remember I said this is like the old days, coming back in the middle of the night, landing in the rain, and I used to do that. But I didn't do it every week.
Right.
That's the thing that I think is going to catch up with him, is that every week grind.
We're looking out in front of Robert Presley's car. Again, he's running in the 20th position after starting 42nd. This is the car that he had his best finish so far this year in. It was a backup car at Fontana. They crashed their good car in practice. This was the car they unloaded and had their only top 10 finish of the year. And again, I asked Ryan Pemberton about the Subway, and he said potentially this could be a sponsor for us. And we got a battle for second with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Jarrett.
Right at the halfway lap, 2 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. Jarrett goes back to second.
I'm liking Jarrett's car better and better all the time. I tell you, I think they're working on that car, making minor adjustments. It looks to me like he's getting better and better as the race wears on. And we're only halfway, guys. We got this much. We got to go another 100 laps.
There's the gap. Jarrett to Gordon, the leader. Increases over the tunnel there, just a little bit.
A little over 2 seconds.
Boy, it didn't change at all over the tunnel, did it?
No, it didn't. Come up the short chute here, the shortest straightaway.
Now, earlier in the race, this is where Jarrett was somewhat better than Gordon seemed to be, was getting off at turn 3.
Or if anything, the gap increased a little bit through turn 3.
Just a little bit. Not a big difference in these cars right now.
Needs to get a little closer. He could get a little draft off him, but he's going to have to close up a little bit before that happens.
We'll see who carries the most speed in turn 1. Gordon 196, Jarrett 197. Dale Jarrett carried a little more speed getting down into turn 1, running that high side.
We've talked a lot about multi-car teams, and each of these first 3 cars are part of a 2- or 3-car team. But it seems, at least today in the last few weeks, it's been only the Robert Yates teams that have run well together as a team. One of the Hendrick cars runs well. One of the DEI cars runs well. And you can look at that back through the field, but consistently it's the Yates team that are right there together.
And you know, the unique thing about that, they're one of the few multi-car operations that has shops in totally separate locations. One's down in Charlotte, the 88 team, the 28 Texaco teams up in Mooresville, where most of the multi-car teams are at least on the same location.
Yeah, about the only common denominator there is the engine program. They both have the same power under the hood. And it's up to the 2 crew chiefs to, I think they got totally different race cars.
But they both perform really well.
And, you know, we thought we saw last year with the Gibbs operation where Tony and Bobby Labonte had identical cars, that was the way to go because they dominated last year as a team. This year, the Yates team looks to be the best.
Well, it was for them as you ride with Bobby Labonte. He is 13th, and his teammate Tony Stewart right behind him in 14th place. Likewise, the 2 Childress cars have been running pretty much together, but that's back at about 18th and 20th place for Harvick and Skinner.
Mike, Darrell, and Larry, one thing I'd like to add about what you're talking about as far as teammates are concerned, working with the Roush organization, we had 4 and 5 teams when I was there, is that during the course of a race, if 2 cars are running well, you're able to share that information as far as the changes you're making on your race cars, and from time to time, you know, one team may let more air out of the left side tires or may increase something in the right side, and it may help that car. And again, you can relay it to your car and make your car get better quicker. In this situation right now, Dale Jarrett running second, Ricky Rudd running 4th. Those 2 guys may be showing what they're doing to their cars and relaying that information. And by the end of the race, they may get their cars better yet and be able to contend against Jeff Gordon.
Well, Jeff, with this new tire, what I would like to see if I was looking over 2 teams that come out of the same stables, it's say, look, let's start at this point. Let's start the same. When we get to the racetrack, then if you want to go one direction, you want to go another, and then we'll continue to communicate with each other to see who's making the most gains.
Yeah, what I know as a driver, no 2 drivers can drive the same setup. One guy will say, oh, that's way, way too loose. I can't stand that. And the other guy said, well, I like it. And so that's what you got to tailor-make the car to. Not car to car to car. That car doesn't have any idea who's driving it or where it's at. It's the driver that makes the difference.
The car's got to be right for whoever's in it. like Casey Atwood right now, who's having a great day as a rookie. They're in 6th place. In fact, he is battling Jeff Burton for 5th place. Has a look inside, lines up behind him. Steve's in his pit.
And talking to Sammy Johns, who's the director of R&D for this team. Casey's doing a great job. What's he saying about the race car, Sammy?
Oh, he's just a little bit tight in the tunnel right now, and a little bit looser than 3. So he's real good off of 3, though. So we just need a little bit and we can be real good, but can't say enough for the job Casey's doing out there. He's doing great being a rookie here at Pocono and stuff. And the Duke crew's been doing him an awesome job in the pits today, too. So we'll see if we can keep it up.
Thanks, Sammy.
I like what he's got there. I want to be a little tight in that tunnel turn. I don't want to be loose, and I want to be a little free off turn 3. I don't want to be loose, but I want you to be able to turn that steering wheel and stay in that throttle.
Oh, yeah, I think he's got a pretty good setup. Good compromise setup.
Absolutely.
5 laps past halfway. You should ride with Casey Atwood chasing Jeff Burton for 5th place. Jeff Gordon the leader, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ricky Rudd the front 4. Then that battle for 5th we've been watching, followed by Ken Schrader, Jimmy Spencer, Sterling Marlin, and Matt Kenseth, the top 10. Playing an all-access pass with Dale Jarrett from here at Pocono. Dale takes you into the pits, closed-door meetings, and shows you a side of NASCAR you've not seen. NASCAR Victory Lane, all access with Dale Jarrett. Sunday at 9, your local time on Fox Sports Net.
You know what might be my favorite car? If I had a brown car with flames on it.
They have a truck painted like that.
Do they really?
Doesn't deliver anything to my house, but they do have it. How about take a ride in the little brown car?
Oh, yeah, let me get in here. I'll follow him in the big brown truck if he'll just show me the way around here. This is the tunnel turn right here. And you can see, lays out the throttle, picks it up. Back wide open right there, right out next to that wall. There's a real, we really get close to the wall right there. You drive in here hard. This is a loose corner because it's flat. Carrying a lot of speed, 180 mile an hour right at it. Lay out, ease in that throttle, squeeze down on it, squeeze down on it. Wide open right there, right out next to the wall. Reach over. Thank you. Shift. Down the front straightaway.
6:35.
6:35 lap time. Down in there hard. Gets into 3rd gear before he enters the corner. Some guys do it before they get there. Some guys will shift in the middle of the corner. Just depends on what you're comfortable with. Up off of that turn, down that long back straightaway. Let's see if he shifts again. I don't think he does. Some guys will shift back into high gear down the back. But I think he's going to run basically 3rd gear all the way down to the tunnel turn again. Really a finesse corner here. All about entry. Got to enter that corner just right, get a good fast exit off. And again, here we go right over to turn 3. Drive in there hard, on the brakes heavy. Slow the car way down. Squeeze down easy on that throttle. Here he comes. Back wide open.
And he's 2.3 seconds back of Jeff Gordon. You see Ward Burton, bottom of your screen, back in the race with what is left of the Cat Dodge. Let's go back to 16th place, Jerry Nadeau. Now, he was involved in the big 14-car wreck at lap 54, so that car's had some damage.
He just hit the wall out of turn 3. That was him that got up against the wall. You just run out of racetrack there.
Rusty Wallace running him hard.
I think that's probably why he hit the wall. Rusty is trying to make the pass, and here he's going to get by him right here.
See all the damage on the right side of that 25 car, as long as the tire's not rubbing.
Oh, man. Look at the right side of that thing.
Looking low, you're still clear. Inside.
And that, you know, see that move right there? That's really not a good move for Nadeau to do. He should let Rusty make the pass, get up behind Rusty, and draft him and follow him down through there. Don't hold him up. That just breaks the momentum of both cars. Let's see what he does here. Whoa, it's pushing bad. He's in the throttle. He's pushing. He can't get it stopped. And bam. That's a pretty good lick right there.
Yes, it is.
Let's show you Rusty Wallace's view of that from the Miller Lite on board.
Listen to Rusty. Ooh, never lifted.
Now, from that angle, it looked like he caught it back in first.
Well, it's one of those push-loose things.
Slide.
What it's slide. Yeah, you've got the wheels turn, you're under power, all of a sudden, it's not going to turn. When you jump out of it, the back end snaps around.
And before you pick up the phone to call OSHA, that robotic camera on the wall right there is not manned. We do not have a cameraman there. That's controlled from the television truck. Most laps led last 3 races. Boy, that'll depress you if you're not Jeff Gordon.
Holy cow, 600 laps.
Of course, last week got Rick Hendrick his 100th win. And, you know, Jeff Gordon's at 271 starts, 55 wins. He's winning every 5th race.
That's incredible. What an average. Here comes the 19 car down pit road, guys.
And Johnny Benson is in as well, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Boy, the 19 made a great entry. Stevie's coming to you.
Yeah, they've already talked about what they want to do, DW. They're going to take a quarter round of wedge out. And this, Casey's in just a little bit early because he feels like there's a slow leak on that right front tire. He said it's gripping too well. So they'll take a look at that when it comes off now. Ed Watkins, the jackman underneath the car to Dick Berggren.
And Earnhardt Jr. has already finished his pit stop. The left side door is pretty well bashed in. That's the first time I've had a real good look at it today. Surprising how badly damaged it is. Doesn't seem to affect the performance.
Michael Waltrip in. These are green flag pit stops, scheduled stops.
Actually, Mike, you'd like to knock those doors in if you could and make that car kind of wide in the front, skinny through the middle, not like Michael's is, and then wide back in the back again.
Yeah, wide back here, narrow right here. That's a little bit of rear downforce.
Oh, it is. If you try to put a door template on that thing, you'd know why.
Michael Waltrip away. There's the damage to the left side of Dale Jr.'s car.
Yeah, I thought Michael's car was going to be damaged a lot worse than it was in that accident, but actually he's in pretty good shape.
Comes back on track in 28th place.
Compared to most of the wrecks he's had the last few weeks, that's a minor one.
Clear, buddy. You will be clear coming off the corner.
Again, to get up to speed pretty quick down this long front straightaway, but you go out of the pits so far back on the front straightaway, by the time you go through turn 1, come off of turn 1, you're up to speed.
Hut Strickland making a stop for Jenny Dunleavy, and what a turnaround this team has had. And
boy, I tell you, last week Michigan was exciting for these guys, and I tell you, I believe, Larry, you'd agree.
Bill Elliott may have a tire down.
Left front, yeah. See that ducktail on that? See that ducktail that was on that fender?
Problems now.
Down and out for the left front on Elliott.
Again, if he puts debris down and they throw a caution, all these guys making green flag stops, it will not be a good move. That'll be going on right now. Right now, cars that are scheduled to pit, I'm sure they're waiting to see should this car put some debris down. He's going to get to pit road right here.
What a bad break. He was actually working his way back up through there pretty well from that earlier accident.
Track looks clear, and he's just grinding away the rim and suspension bits.
Just wants to get it to the pits. Actually, it being locked up like that is a good thing. It's not tearing the fender off the car.
But it is flat rubbing that front valance off, which is hurting the front downforce big time.
And now they're going to have a problem getting the left side jacked up. It's going to take all those guys picking up on the car.
Normally, most teams will have a bar or something they will put in there to try to raise it up.
They need that badly right now. See everybody trying to pick it up.
Struggling to get the jack under.
Can't do it. There it goes. Now, what about fuel mileage, Larry? Will Jeff Gordon and maybe Dale Jarrett or Ricky Rudd gamble here and stretch it out a bit?
Well, I don't know. Everybody was on pit road at lap 79, and that's 121 laps to go. Should someone be able to go 39 laps? They could do it on 2 stops. Should they go to about lap 118? Matt Yoakum, can anybody do that?
Well, Larry, that's what the 24 team is considering right now. They're going to try to pit the 24 car on around lap 120 to 121. They are getting right at 40 laps per run out of fuel. They're going to pit in 4 more laps. He's telling Jeff to keep an eye on the fuel pressure gauge because they are going to run it extremely tight on fuel on this run.
Yeah, it sounds like 4 more laps and they're going to pit him.
Yeah, and that would be 81 laps to go, and then all he'd have to do is run 40 laps one time, 41 another. Dick Berggren.
Well, Todd Parrott is definitely his father's son, and he has just been on the radio with his driver, Dale Jarrett. He would like to see a pit stop so that he can pit under caution. And just after the 9 car had his problems up there, he got on the radio to his driver, Dale Jarrett, said, you see any debris up there? That's what they're looking for, debris, so maybe they can talk to NASCAR and cause a caution, but they couldn't get any. Schrader in pits.
Steve?
And Kenny Schrader just got 4 tires, didn't see any chassis adjustments, Mike. Schrader stops on lap 116.
Elliott Sadler and Todd Bodine have been in. Here's Bodine getting right side tires. A long stop for Bill Elliott to get that left front off, but he is back on the racetrack. And Steve Park comes in. Park with damage from that lap 54 crash, as is Wally Dallenbach.
And these are all scheduled stops. Here's Steve Park. Boy, he's just making laps. That's a mess.
He pulled that tear off the windshield. He'd like to just jerk the whole windshield out of it. It's what he'd like to do. Boy, what a depressing day. Boy,
Nadeau, a big slide getting into his pit right next to where the 33 was coming out.
33 was coming out. He had her locked up sliding, buddy.
And his pits is right at the entrance of pit road, and he just barely got into his pits.
Uh-oh, the official is pointing, saying we need some lug nuts over here.
Yeah, he left a lug nut off.
Got to have all 5 lug nuts. There you see it locked up, 33 right there. Jerry Nadeau trying to do all he can to get to his pits as quick as he can under green.
They got that lug nut replaced on the right front, and he goes back out. Kyle Petty's in, Ron Hornaday, Terry Labonte.
Here comes the 28 car down pit road, guys. 28 in.
Carrying as much speed as he can till he gets to that's where they clock the 55 miles an hour. Dick Berggren. How about Ricky Rudd?
Ricky Rudd on his way in, and right now his crew chief's counting him in. 5, 4, 3, 2, and Ricky Rudd stops right on the mark. Norman Kushimizu on the gas. He's one of the real veterans here. Up front, Bobby Burnell does the front tires. Ray Holm does the rears. John Bryan fast on the jack, on around. These guys have had great stops all day long, and there's another one to Steve.
And Dick, Jimmy Spencer getting his service. Wayne Jenks slams the jack in there. Billy Kerwin changing tires on the rear. They put a half a pound of air in the right front. Spencer just a little bit free, and he is down away from his stop.
Bobby Hamilton, Stacy Compton comes zooming onto pit road. Jeff Gordon staying out. So is Jeff Burton, and here's Brett Bodine, who was involved. Actually, he started the big wreck at lap 54, and he's going to coast in on the infield road course as Dale Jarrett comes to pit lane.
Actually, he's not going to make it in. Now, this is an interesting situation. He's off the racetrack. The 11 car is, but Gordon hadn't pitted yet, and the 11 car is not going to clear the end of the road down there to get to the pits. Dick.
Well, Daryl Jarrett on pit road right now. Todd Parrott, his crew chief, has been very quiet about what he wants done, but he somehow came down to Rick Colson here on pit road, and Colson put the wrench in the car, trying to adjust that chassis. He has been free off. 14-2, a good stop.
We got to have a caution, guys. They got a car. Yeah, here we go, caution. That 11 car sitting down there, it's not in harm's way, but if somebody needs the access road, and here comes Gordon.
Marlin gets out. Martin, Stewart, all zooming out of the pits. Wallace.
The reason they're trying to zoom out is Jeff Gordon's getting to the start-finish line right now. They're trying to stay on the lead lap. He just crossed the start-finish line. These guys look like they will make it out before they go a lap down. But Rusty Wallace will go a lap down coming off pit road.
Rusty didn't make it, and I tell you another guy that didn't make it, Jimmy Spencer, who was just behind the leader. He didn't make it either.
But Mark Martin, Tony Stewart in the 20 car, they will stay on the lead lap.
Now, you know what? I'm not so sure that Rusty won't get to go on by.
We'll see how that's scored, because as Gordon came to the start-finish line, all of those cars were down track.
They were down him. Yeah, I think Rusty ought to be able to go around.
I think you're right, Darrell, because the field freezes when the leader gets to the start-finish line. So those cars that were further down pit road, all the ones we spoke of, I believe should get the free pass.
I would think
come around. Let's see if this takes anybody off the lead lap, though, among the cars that made pit stops under green prior to the caution flag coming out.
Spencer's one of them, I know. He's right there, right in behind Gordon as they came to the line.
In cars that did go a lap down, remember what they'll do. They'll be able to start in front of Jeff Gordon, because Jeff Gordon's got to come to pit road. This is Robin Pemberton, Rusty Wallace, the crew chief, talking to NASCAR.
I really think Rusty's...
Well, ask him. I mean, we're leaving pit road.
I think they got a valid point here, and I think a legitimate argument.
Let's show you what Robin Pemberton, what he's saying, and the point that we're trying to illustrate is that when Jeff Gordon comes to the start-finish line right here, that he's coming this way. So that freezes the field. These cars were exiting the point down here, so that if scoring stops when Gordon gets to the line, should those cars be able to come around?
Oh, I would think so. I mean, I think having to maintain pit road speed obviously slows them down, but I think Rusty should get the pass.
Now, the cars that didn't pit, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, Bobby Labonte, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, Dave Blaney, Mike Skinner, Robert Presley, they are on pit road now for their scheduled stop. Steve Byrne.
Well, Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. They're going to go down one round on the track bar. They're also going to take some tape off of a brake duct opening. Bobby said the brakes felt like they're going away a little bit. Left side tires going on now, and we go to Matt.
The 24 guys dance around to the left side of the car. Jeff Gordon says his car is loose up off the corner. He called for an air pressure adjustment, but then under this caution, 16.4 seconds, he said, no, let's go back. Let's not make any air pressure adjustments. I don't want to tighten this race car up. I think we'll be all right.
See, Mike, you can't advance under a caution flag. And once that guy went across the start-finish line, that should be, he should basically stop right there. Rusty was coming out of the pits. I know the pace car should not have picked.
See, here's Gordon, and is that Spencer? Spencer is a lap down.
Spencer's a lap down. He didn't make it.
Taking the caution flag right here.
So if scoring stops right there,
Rusty's going down pit road, and even though Gordon passed him, I mean, the car, he should have the field is frozen once it crosses the start-finish line.
NASCAR officials are reviewing the situation. We'll get word on what happens here in a moment. But right now, the leader is Jeff Gordon. Jeff Burton is second. Matt Kenseth is up to third.
Now,
Bobby Labonte is fourth.
See, that's one of the reasons why we pick a pit on the other side of the start-finish line.
Past start-finish.
Past start-finish for incidences just like this. Plus, you can lead a lap on pit road. So, scoring stops right here at the start-finish line.
Right here is where the scoring line is.
Word we're getting from the NASCAR officials is that Wallace is being scored as down one lap. Dick Berggren?
Well, what Robin Pemberton is saying to his driver, Rusty Wallace, and Rusty is arguing vehemently in that car, is that NASCAR is telling him it's the end of pit road that really matters in this situation. Rusty disagrees. Pemberton disagrees, but they're not in charge here. NASCAR is.
And all right, what they're talking about is even under caution, this line right here, that's where they score the cars. Because even under caution, as cars come down the front stretch, if you don't beat them to this line right here, you go down a lap and you can do it even under caution.
And let me give you some of the why of that. That's to equalize, Darrell, the effect of different positions along pit road. That under caution, there's a line right there painted on the outside. And if the pace car gets there before you do, you don't get that lap back.
Here's Gordon to take the caution at the start-finish line right here. All right, we're going to see Rusty Wallace. He's on pit road. We're under caution now. We're official. All right, Rusty Wallace right there. The cutoff line, which you see Tony Stewart and Mark Martin, they beat Jeff Gordon. Rusty Wallace does not beat him.
I can't really argue that point because it's different than what I've been taught.
So 122 laps are complete here at Pocono. Jeff, or rather now, Dale Jarrett, the leader. In conferring with NASCAR officials, our initial assumption is true that racing to the caution ends right there at the flag stand where that caution flag is waving. But again, to minimize the effect of the positions of individual pits down pit road in that situation, there's a line painted right there on the outside of pit wall. When the pace car gets there, positions of cars coming along the pit lane are frozen. If you're ahead of that position, you get to go around. If you're behind it, you don't. And it's very rare that this happens coming to the caution. Usually it happens during a caution flag period. But that is the interpretation, that Wallace did not beat Gordon to the place where the end of pit road is scored.
But DW, how should Rusty and Robin Pemberton reacted?
Well, if I'd have known that, if I'd have known what was going on, I'd have sped down pit road. I'd have took off. I'd have taken my 15-second penalty, started at the end of the longest line, and I wouldn't have been a lap down. But I got to tell you, guys like Rusty Wallace and myself, we've always been taught that start-finish line is sacred. Everything stops and starts right there. Not some line down here on the side of a wall. I mean, that's a new one for me.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Rusty Wallace just told Robin Pemberton that he's done the best he can to argue the thing, but obviously they've lost. He said, I will meet NASCAR in the trailer when it's all done and over with. Pemberton has told his driver, just keep digging. Maybe we'll get lucky and hit a caution. NASCAR's ruled. They are in charge.
And I understand their ruling and how they do that at the end of pit road, folks, and we hope you do too. 123 laps have been completed. We're getting set for a restart here soon. Getting set for the restart, Dale Jarrett and teammate Ricky Rudd lead Ken Schrader, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon in 7th, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Burton, and Bobby Labonte down to the restart. And because you asked for it, we'll crank it up for you on this restart. 124 laps complete.
Crank her wide open.
Caution flag froze the field, and a lot of the leaders came to pit road. The cars that had pitted under green moved up behind the pace car, so they're all in front of Dale Jarrett, who is the race leader.
Yeah, not very often you see the leader restart in 10th place. He's in 10th, about 10th place in line. He's right out here. Here he is, and got all those cars ahead of him, fighting like crazy to get back on the lead lap.
And what they need is a caution. You got Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Ted Musgrave, Todd Bodine, Hut Strickland, Kevin LePage, Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty, all trying to get that lap back.
Jeff Gordon peeks out from behind Bobby Hamilton. He's got Jeff Burton with him. Bill Elliott had to check up a bit there.
Of course, Bill Elliott actually in 2 altercations today. Yes. One over there where in that earlier wreck where he went through the infield and caved his valence and then having the left front tire come apart on him a while ago.
Elliott 2 laps back. Jeff Burton getting a little help from Mark Martin and from the 17 of Matt Kenseth, all 3 of those Roush Racing teammates.
This is actually a battle for 7th. Jeff Burton in the 99, he's in 7th, but Mark Martin in that 6 car falling in behind here off turn 1.
Jarrett 3 wide inside Hut Strickland.
That puts Hut Strickland in the 90, Michael Waltrip in the Napa 15 car that puts him back a lap down. But he still has more in front of him.
Napa cam on both Michael Waltrip chasing Jarrett. Got Strickland inside as Gordon and Burton try to bust through. They're battling Ken Schrader. Schrader, another of those cars that made a pit stop just prior to the caution coming out for Brett Bodine.
And this is actually a battle for the 5th position, but it's way deep in the field.
Now, Schrader was one of those cars that made a stop and got back out without getting lapped. That's why he is still on the lead lap. Mark Martin inside his teammate, Jeff Burton there. Tony Stewart taking a real low dip inside.
Whoa, Jeff Gordon gets in the back of Rick Mast in that 50 car. He's trying to get out of this mess right here. He's got a fast race car, but he's mauled behind all these cars right now.
Well, it's not like Mast had anywhere to go.
No, not going into turn 2.
Well, remember, folks, though, there's no brake lights on these cars, and Mast might have braked a little more for that corner than Gordon thought he was going to.
Kevin LePage in the 4 car now. He's back a lap down behind the leader.
Sterling Marlin to the inside there with Tony Stewart.
Sterling Marlin in the 40 Coors Light car. Remember, started on the outside pole. That car was not good at the beginning of the race. Fell all the way back to about 25th after a couple of pit stops. Now he's back up to 3rd position.
Right behind him there, Elliott Sadler. Tony Stewart looking for somewhere to go.
Okay, I got it. I got it. See, when the caution came out, Gordon was coming down the front straightaway. He's running wide open. The caution came out. He's going past the start-finish line just like he was racing. Rusty's on pit road. Rusty can't get out of the pits fast enough without speeding. Had Gordon have slowed down when he got to the start-finish line, down to the pit road speed or 65 mile an hour, then Rusty would have beat him out. But the momentum carried him on down the racetrack, lapped Rusty in the pits.
And the critical point is that they are score leaving the pits down at the line at the end of pit road, not at the start finish.
It was Gordon. I guess you want to look at it. Gordon kept on going, and Rusty should have took off and didn't.
Here's a battle for 10th. Kurt Busch in the 97, Bobby Labonte in that 18 car, and Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Again, these all lead lap cars.
Well, Kurt Busch is my hero this weekend. He had that spin Friday in practice. He could have walked around and hung his head a little. He had the problem in qualifying, had to take provisional, could have hung his head a little, but no. The rookie stepped up, and he's been a top 10 car most all of the day.
Ever since early in the race.
It's kind of one of those deals that can't get any worse than this big, so you might as well go ahead and have a good day. And I think Casey Atwood's in the same boat.
Yeah, now Casey right now is falling back to 16th. He's still a lead lap.
But here he's moving back up.
Battling Dave Blaney.
See, he was the last car on the lead lap. When Gordon came around, he was the last car on the lead lap, so he started back behind all those lead lap cars. Or a lot of them.
131 complete, 69 to go on this Father's Day running of the Pocono 500, presented on Fox by Subway. The Robert Yates team, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd holding court over Sterling Marlin and Tony Stewart.
Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania, and the Pocono Raceway. As you get a look, Dale Jarrett now after 134 laps with his teammate Ricky Rudd behind, following Sterling Marlin, and those great aerial shots you've been seeing, brought to you by courtesy of the Fujifilm blimp and all the folks at Fujifilm America, enjoying the race. And you know, Jeff Hammond, a moment ago when Jeff Gordon was 7th, you and I were saying we know he has the car to come back, but he's got to weave through traffic to get back to the front. So far he's moving his way up to 5th.
That's true. We keep talking about how critical the pit stops were. Well, those guys getting in early, 88, 28, 40 car, for example, they've got track position, working their way through traffic. This racetrack has already been I guess you're viewed as somewhat like a road course, so working yourself around traffic is very difficult, and it's going to be hard for him to catch up. He's almost a half a straightaway behind. We still got a lot of racing to go.
And we know Jeff loves road courses. For more on Jeff, let's go to his crew chief, who's with Matt Yoakum. Matt?
Hey, Chris, that's Robbie Loomis. Robbie took a big sigh of relief when that caution came out right when you wanted to pit. So when will you make your final stop? Lap 160, Robbie?
Yeah, we were looking real good, you know, if that baby went green. It just didn't work out that way. Right now, we're trying to fight our way back up to the front. You can see a lot of guys coming about 155, 160 right here.
To Dick.
Having his very best run since he was hurt at the qualifying session in Charlotte several weeks ago. His crew chief, Todd Parrott, is that because of the car that he's running so well, or is he just feeling better?
Well, I think it's just a little bit of both. He is feeling better. He told me last night that it's the best he's felt in the last 3 or 4 weeks since the deal happened. And we got a good little hot rod out there. We made some changes on it this morning. Happy hour, we were pretty good, but made some changes to it. And you know, this is a place that we really like. It's a flat racetrack, a lot like Indy, and you know, so far we've hit everything pretty close, and you know, just have to see what happens.
DJ has been playing really hurt for the last several weeks, doing great today. To Steve.
Well, Dick, Father's Day may have just gone sour for Kenny Schrader. He just radioed in and says he's either got a problem in the carburetor or he's lost a cylinder. He's been running in the top 10 much of the day.
More than likely a broken valve spring. It'll just start to make the engine kind of spit back through the carburetor. So more likely he's broken a valve spring, and that's going to end up, that pretty soon it'll drop a valve.
And we're 3/4 of the way almost through this race, Darrell. This plays so hard on valve train. It's the RPMs. It gets up there. We've seen it on the telemetry. Gets up there, just hangs, just sits there, 88, 8900. Very hard on motors.
The last 30 or 40 laps of this race, you'll see a lot of guys starting to have engine trouble.
Now here's Dale Jarrett, who has just put Rusty Wallace 1 lap down, so that call going against Wallace has cost him. Now look at this. Here's right in line Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, and Kurt Busch. All the 4 little Roush ducks right in a row.
They shared a lot of information.
Yes. And you know, Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, 2 starts here last year. He ran good here both races last year. Had a 5th and a 14th place finish. Started back in 31st. Now he's in the top 10 and 8th.
Well, Jared is, man, he is really checked out on all these guys.
Right now, the 26 car, Jimmy Spencer, of all those cars that started in front of DJ on the tail end of the lead lap, Jimmy Spencer's the only one he's not put back a lap down.
Boy, and let me tell you, Jared has done an incredible job, Larry, of working himself through all that traffic to get himself up front here, out in the clean air, and getting ready to put a lap on Jimmy Spencer. Look at that thing go down the straightaway, and Jimmy's just going to pull over and let him go.
Casey Atwood in that 19 car, he's trying to march his way back to the front. Again, got behind a little bit after these pit stops. He's in 14th position.
He came in and out of the pits a couple of times, Larry. I don't know what they were doing to the car, made some adjustments, I'm sure. A couple of pit stops under that caution. That's what got him behind.
Robert Presley in the 77 drives to the inside, headed down into turn 1. Pretty deep. Drove down in there turn 1 now, Robert did. But look how far up the racetrack he got. Casey Atwood on the bottom. But he's going to keep the momentum going down the Long Pond Straight.
Well, I've been coming here for a long, long time, and that's as high as I've seen us run down around turns 1 down there in many, many years.
And there's Casey taking the spot at the tunnel turn from Robert Presley and Dave Blaney.
Yeah, Casey's got a really good little hot rod, and of course, like you heard Todd Parrott say, it's looking pretty good right now. I thought Jarrett's car, you know, as the race went on, looked like it would get better and better and better, and it's doing that.
2.6 seconds ahead of his teammate Ricky Rudd, who's in second.
Not a great day for the Childress team. Kevin Harvick running in 13th. His teammate Mike Skinner in 17th. But the last car on the lead lap, there goes Harvick out of frame. And we'll pick Skinner up, who is on the lead lap, but having a tough day.
And he was one of the cars, he was really having a tougher day, I think, than 17th, but one of the cars that was still out on the racetrack when that caution came out, so it actually helped him quite a bit.
Bobby Hamilton, the 55, a lap down 28. And Bill Elliott, 2 laps down as a result of that cut down left front tire. He is 33rd.
And Bill's had a great adventure today, been involved in a big wreck, and then that tire's going down. Still out there plugging away.
Dale Jarrett has a 2.3 second lead on his Robert Yates Racing teammate, Ricky Rudd. Pocono, how many times has a racer been won from the pole?
Oh, it's easy, 5.
You have insulted us. I can't believe with 2 races to go, you would ask us a question like that. That question
be a historian
is
to know
so
this
easy
stuff.
and so simple. If the wine and cheese group in the I'm gonna let the hotel answer. That's so simple.
I know the answer.
In other words, Larry,
Tell him, buddy.
you don't
You
know,
know the
do
answer.
you?
Tell him.
All right. Well, Jeff and I were talking.
Jeff and I were looking through the book.
It's 6 to 46. No, we mentioned that on the pre-race show.
Right, Daryl, pay
6
attention.
to 46 races.
I only know of one, and that's the first one. That's the only one I knew of.
If you told it on the pre-race
Daryl
show,
did do it.
why are we doing it again? There they are.
Daryl, the first man who sat on the pole did not win the race here.
Well, I was talking about on the list, man. I don't know about
you might
on
be
the
the
list.
first one on the list.
Yeah.
We knew the answer.
Yeah.
We just wanted to see if you guys knew.
That's why I knew what it was.
Daryl's not that old.
But nice bluff, Larry.
But that's cheating. They've got the books down there. We don't have the books up here.
You know, Chris told me, he said, man, DW, I hope I look as good as you do when I'm your age. I said, you don't have to worry about that. You don't look that good now.
But you did answer it right. You said 5.
I said 5. I wouldn't count myself. I wasn't thinking about it.
You wouldn't brag on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. We're modest.
There's Jarrett off into turn 1 in front of a huge crowd here, and there's Ricky Rudd. 2.6 seconds. Ooh, little smoke from the right front of Ricky as he went in there.
I think he just drove it in there a little too hard. Got on the brakes. Probably hit the fender. Maybe tire hit it, rubbed up in the fender a little bit.
Now Sterling Marlin is 6 seconds off the lead, meaning he's about 3.5 seconds behind Ricky Rudd.
But let me tell you, they've done a lot of good work in the pits on that car because, you know, he fell back early on the start there, way back. But now that car's running pretty darn good. And Gordo's having to do something he hasn't had to do a whole lot of.
Well, he's trying to find
past cars
here. Ted Musgrave in the 7 and his teammate Jerry Nadeau in that 25 car. Again, these are cars that are lap down. Jeff Gordon is in the 4th position right now.
And sometime a car will run great out in clean air, Larry, as you well know, but you get back in traffic and it's a whole different picture.
And we've heard Jeff Gordon talk a lot about that this year. You get all that downforce on the front end.
Now 2.5 seconds behind Gordon. The 5th place car is Jeff Burton, the Charlotte winner, who's had a strong run all day. And right behind him comes the rest of the Roush parade. Matt Kenseth is there. It's interrupted by the 20 of Tony Stewart and then Mark Martin and Kurt Busch. For more on Stewart, who has broken up the Roush roundup there, here's Steve.
And Mike, Tony Stewart just radioed to crew chief Greg Zipadelli and said this car has gotten like a skateboard in turn 3. It's very loose. How soon till I pit? Greg Zipadelli told him hang on for about another 15 laps.
In other words, eternity. That's what 15 laps feels like.
Yeah, how much of your fingernails are left if you've been hanging on for 15 laps?
When the driver starts calling in, Larry knows this, and says, how long before I pit? He knows it's pretty bad.
But I know something the crew chief's paying close attention to, DW. Tony Stewart starting to slide around. We started this race. Look at here. Air temperature up 10 degrees. What has that done to the track? That's up 15 degrees. These cars are going to start sliding around more.
Yes, sir. It gets hotter and slicker.
54 laps to go. One more pit stop if we stay under green. We've had 6 caution flags today.
And that's why you've got to have adjustability in your car. And you've got to always be thinking ahead. The crew chief does. I'm speaking for Larry now. About how am I going to fix this car for the end of the day? What have I got to do? What adjustments am I going to make that last pit stop, that crucial one?
And right now, that crucial pit stop should be only one more stop. Should we go about another 14 or 15 laps under green, and that's the stop you want to make sure you make the right adjustments. It may be your last opportunity to adjust the car.
Save your last set, your best set of tires. You know, the guys measured them all up. They got their air pressure just right. Going to tweak the wedge, maybe tweak the track bar. It's all up to the driver from there.
But you have to get 4 tires. Now remember what Jeremy pulled there with 2 tires late in the race here.
This harder tire, I just don't think they got the grip this year, Mike, to do that way.
Well, and the difference will be you've got to run 40 laps on this set, then you'll have to run 40 laps on the next set. I don't believe I won't left side.
I don't think so.
50.
Nice try to go. Nice try.
Well, you got to think of it.
That's our car owner talking.
That's right.
Saving money.
Pay for those tires, you know.
Welcome back to the Pocono 500, presented by Subway, and Dale Jarrett, his teammate Ricky Rudd, leading Sterling Marlin. Again, Dodge looking for its first win of the year, but Jeff Hammond, as we watch from our location here at the Hollywood Hotel, Jeff Gordon has now moved his way up to 4th as he's trying to win his 3rd straight race. The last time that's happened on the Winston Cup Series, it was in '98, and he was the one who did it.
Yes, Chris, but watching the lap times and noticing the difference between the leader and Gordon. Right now, Dale Jarrett has been able to get away from Gordon. He's opened up his lead by almost 5 seconds since the last restart.
You know, earlier Larry Mack and Mike and Darrell were talking about Yates Motors and the team, how they've been successful with their drivers. And Ricky Rudd, who hasn't won in 88 races, finished second at Martinsville 2. His teammate Dale Jarrett, and said that some of the notes that he gave them on that particular track benefited Dale Jarrett, but otherwise, other than the motors being the same, they don't trade that much information. Given this track and this point of the race where we are, how beneficial is it to both of these drivers that their teammate is riding along with them in front?
At this point in time, Chris, I would believe that it's kind of a moot point. I believe that Fatback and Todd both are kind of like doing their own thing, taking care of their drivers. Darrell made a point that, you know, Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd are 2 separate entities, and it may take different type of combinations to make it work for them. Now, sharing little bits of information as far as air pressure, I'm sure they're doing that, but right now it looks like, you know, Dale Jarrett's in a rhythm and a groove. We touched on it earlier that maybe just having an opportunity to get back in like a winning mode here may help these guys. He's maybe got some motivation. He's lost that point lead. Now he's trying to regain it or get back up there and contend for the points again, and it may be a good thing for him.
And with Sterling Marlin 3rd, you know, Ray Evernham, we talked to him this weekend. He wouldn't predict how many wins Dodge would have this year, Jeff, but he said they were going to win at some point. And he talked about the way Sterling had been running, and obviously with Casey Atwood, whose best finish is 12th, and that was at Richmond, flirting a little bit here. I guess Ray is disappointed with the progress of Dodge at this point.
I know he is, but we did touch on earlier. We believe that Dodge will win. Also, I firmly believe that this man, 40 car, will be the guy who will get it done first. He's been Mr. Consistency when it comes to Dodge.
And Ray Evernham couldn't say enough about Jeff Gordon. In fact, he was saying that he'd like to one day see him and Michael Schumacher, the Formula One driver, go head-to-head because they are 2 of the best at what they do. Let's go back upstairs.
And Gordon would like to do that. He says of all the race cars in the world, he'd most love to drive Michael Schumacher's Formula One Ferrari.
I hear that a lot of the owners and drivers in Winston Cup are working real hard to get him a ride.
Would like to see him go do that, too.
They'd like to see him out of here. But you know what, Larry? As I said earlier, this guy out front, clean air, he was setting sail. Dale Jarrett out front, clean air, setting sail. He's got 11-second lead on Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and as Jeff Gordon was fighting Jimmy Spencer, who's a lap car, it grew by about 2 seconds. He was 9 seconds. In about 4 laps, he went to over 11 seconds.
One thing we've been watching as Ricky Rudd enters turn 1 is that little puff of smoke as he goes off in turn 1. It might be a little tire rub, and if it is, There it is, just a little bit
right there. It's that right front fender's rubbing on that tire just a little bit, under braking down in that corner.
What's that doing to the temperature and to the air pressure of that tire? Anything?
No, these old radial tires, I think Larry will tell you, they are tough.
Yeah, I mean,
and, you can bang around on them, lean on them. And
it's certainly something you would not like to see, but Darrell, you talked about it earlier. Again, we run the soft springs. You're on the brakes so hard, carrying so much speed, the front end of the car just dives right there.
He's got to look. Probably a tire changer hit that fender when they were changing tires, knocked it in just a teeny bit. That's not a thing to worry about. I wouldn't even mention it to my driver. Wouldn't want to get him distracted.
But they'll be on pit road here in about 7 or 8 laps. And if they've been watching the telecast, which teams do watch, and they've been seeing that smoke, I'm sure without hurting their pit stop, they'll try to pull that back out on this final pit
stop. The tire changer or the tire carrier actually will reach in there and pull that fender back out. It's just probably got a little dent in it.
Bobby Burrell's the right front tire changer on that team. Dick Berggren has checked with the team, and they say that that rub is no big deal.
But you want to be careful. You don't want to overachieve.
That's what you say when you're in the pit. But if you're out there and the driver knew it was doing that, he might have a different opinion.
46 laps to go here in the mountains of Pocono. You're watching NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox.
Introducing new Armor All Protectant Wipes. Armor All Shine and Protection, now in a wipe.
Hot off the neighborhood grill Applebee's Steak Trio. Our top-selling house sirloin, the Bourbon Street sirloin, and for a limited time, our 20-ounce porterhouse. Only at Applebee's.
I'll tell you what, on race day, you better get it right.
You want a hands-on boss.
Yeah.
He Terry Labonte.
Terry Labonte.
Check the transmission and the drive shaft. He's involved in every detail.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hey, if that makes me a perfectionist, 1 more pound. So what? There's a fingerprint on the windshield.
Got it.
Hey, I'm here to win. Blue. The nose needs to be bluer. Blue's good.
Yeah,
Blue's great.
Very good.
Victory Lane gives you an exclusive look at Dale Jarrett's charge towards another Winston Cup. Tonight on Fox Sports Net.
Trouble for Casey Atwood, in trouble. A lot of smoke from his number 19, and caution is out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had already made a pit stop. John Andretti is in after coming back into the race, so a couple of drivers will again get caught by the caution.
But guys, the guy that's going to benefit from this caution, Jeff Gordon in that 24 car, 12 seconds behind Dale Jarrett. I'm not sure under a green flag stop he was going to make up that much distance.
No, he wasn't. And again, he's going to be so good in the pit like he's been for the last 3 or 4 weeks that he's right back in this thing.
And the one driver who was a contender that may get trapped here, we'll see how they come around, is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who pitted with 45 laps to go.
He was one of the lead lap cars that came in. And
yeah, and he pitted early, too. We were talking about that, and he coming in early, it bit him.
And he may have been caught a lap down.
Michael Waltrip, the 15 car, he's got a problem coming to pit road very, very slow.
He could be out of fuel. That, you know, since Junior pitted as early as he did, teammate there, maybe out of fuel.
Not engine trouble, but, well, could be. Looking out the right, or is it the right front? They've gone under the hood of Atwood's car. They've not given up on it.
No, I think it's engine. They look like they opened the hood. They're going to shove him out, shove him back.
I believe his day is cooked.
Now they're going to wait and not push him off right away.
Yeah, the six bunch is right there jumping up and down, telling him to stay there until we make our pit stop.
Now, Jimmy Spencer's on pit road as well, but this would not be where he could pit on this particular lap because the leaders have not been to pit road. But a lot of these guys are getting close to being out of fuel right here. We were due for a lot of green flag stops in that lap or two.
Yeah, Spencer must have felt he had to come in because I don't see that the pit road is not open to cars pitting under caution.
And when pit road opens, first lap, only lead lap cars, second lap cars, one or more lap down.
So Casey Atwood, after a fine run today, ends up in the garage.
But then again, this is, we call this a roval. It's like a road course. And pit strategies, where guys can go laps down, all those things are a little bit different here than they are on a traditional oval.
Look at the oil, or some sort of fluid, there on the back bumper in the TV panel of Casey Atwood's car.
And we haven't seen a lot of engine failures in the Dodge camps so far this year. I mean, they've been pretty bulletproof.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. did go a lap down by pitting under green. Right now we've got 15 cars on the lead lap. There's going to be 41 laps to go as these cars come to pit road. Could be some strategy here. Some cars may can stretch it, some may not. When we get to one to go, DW, I may have you back on pit road to top that fuel tank off.
I know what you're not going to say, though.
I'm not going to say they can or can't make it.
Don't go there, okay?
All right, here they are.
Don't say nobody can make it.
Never say never.
All the lead lap cars in. Dick Berggren.
Dale Jarrett just radioed to his crew and said that the car is on the tight side. Todd Parrott asked him if he wanted to give some of that up. He said just one round, not more than one round. Barry Muse, the jackman, 6'2", 250. He's over the wall. Perhaps the most important guy, though, is Steve Allen, who right now just took that round of wedge out of the car. He's the gas man. He has got to get it all packed in there. To Matt.
The 24 team was hoping to go to lap 160 or 161 to make their final stop. The 88 car is out. He will pass the 24 as Jeff Craven packs that fuel cell full of fuel. The 24 and 28 are going to race to the line. Who's going to get it, guys?
Ricky 28. Ricky Rudd gets Gordon at the end of pit road and trails Dale Jarrett coming off the pit lane.
But Jeff Gordon goes from 12 seconds behind.
He just made up 12 seconds, and he's there with the leader now. And we don't have all those cars in front of him this time, so that's where Jarrett did such a great job. He got through that traffic on that last restart and really stretched the lead, Matt.
And guys, one other thing, the 24 car, Jeff Gordon was reporting his car was tight, so they did make an air pressure adjustment in the right rear to try to free him up, to help him out a little bit in traffic.
Put a little air pressure in that right rear, make that old right rear spring think she's a little stiff, make that old thing turn from the center off.
Good job, dude. As long as you don't hurt the forward bite, you can get back in the gas, that's a good thing.
Jeff Gordon's crew getting the job done again today as Gordon tries to three-peat. Hasn't been done since Gordon himself did it a couple years ago. We'll be right back.
Would you please get out of the kitchen?
There's no better feeling than that of a job well done. And nothing helps you do the job better than America's #1 filter, Fram.
Hey, there's big news at 7-Eleven. It's the new Big Bite Combo. Delicious Big Bite hot dog made by Oscar Mayer. With free chili and cheese. Whatever you want. Ice cold gulp. And a big grab of chips. All for just $1.99. It's the bigger, better summer.
The family has always put in the forefront to protect the quality and the standards set by Adolphus Bush.
The deep sense of pride that my grandfather taught me, that my father continues to teach me.
I think he would be very happy that the generations of his family have practiced what he taught us.
This Father's Day, really surprise him with Mach 3 from Gillette. The world's best dad deserves the world's best shave. Mach 3 from Gillette, the best a man can get.
There's no better feeling than that of a job well done. And nothing helps you do the job better than America's #1 filter, Fram.
Check this out. Bob here needs a car. Whoa.
about a pickup? A black one. With a place for my bike.
Autotrader.com. Over 1.5 million used cars, make it the biggest, best used car site on the planet.
Need a loan?
Oh, yeah. Autotrader.com. Your car is waiting.
The Pocono 500 presented by Subway on Fox is brought to you by Subway. Treat Dad to something made fresh at Subway. Subway, eat fresh. By Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet. And by Fram. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later.
Dale Jarrett with 40 laps to go, leading Ricky Rudd and Jeff Gordon here in Pocono. As of now, up to the moment, Jeff Gordon, who came in the points leader, you see the advantage he would have over Jarrett given the situation. Sterling Marlin also in the hunt, and Tony Stewart currently running 5th. The Busch Series, after yesterday's win in Kentucky, Kevin Harvick expanding his lead over Jeff Green, Greg Biffle running 3rd. That's through 15 of 33 races on the NASCAR Busch Series. And in the Sears Craftsman Truck Series, after 9 of 24 races, Scott Riggs, your leader, but just by 43 points over Joe Ruttman. We're under our 7th caution, 5 leaders and 12 different lead changes. And when this race began, let's bring you up to date. As Ricky Rudd was on the pole, Dale Earnhardt Jr. passing him, then Jeff Gordon moving into the lead.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. challenges back, and surprise, Ricky Rudd makes a challenge also.
Then on lap 52, Jeff, Brett Bodine with cars going 150 miles per hour spins out, and tough to see as we look through Michael Waltrip's view to move your way around.
Yeah, 14 cars involved in that little incident right there. Some of them able to continue, but a lot of them serious damage.
Jeff Gordon looking like he's going to take control of the race, and did for a while. Rusty Wallace tried to challenge, but with a little pit mix-up, Robin Pemberton's driver goes a lap down. And then Dale Jarrett in his UPS car delivering, taking the lead before Casey Atwood. It looks, Jeff, like he had an engine problem here, taking him out of the race.
Yes, it does. It looked like a bad thing for him because he was having a great day today, and that was our last caution.
So your thought on the strategy here with these pit stops here with, we're in lap 161 here. So this should be enough if we don't have another caution for these guys, at least this this front group with Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, and Jeff Gordon to make it the rest of the way.
It's going to be real close. Some of these guys are going to be kind of running on fumes at the end, so it'll be interesting to see.
All right, Dick Berggren.
Ricky Rudd's pit stop was not as good as hoped for. Front tire changer Bobby Burrell, you're covered with black. What happened on that pit stop?
Yeah, it's just the brake dust. It's hard to see the lug dust since they're using so much brake down in the corners. And when you hit the lug dust, the brake dust goes everywhere, and it's hard to see them.
You can't see, you can't see. That's okay. Your guy's back up front. It's all right.
All right, let's set this restart for you with Dale Jarrett, the leader. This man, Ricky Rudd, in 2nd place. Jeff Gordon in 3rd. Then Sterling Marlin is 4th. Mark Martin is 5th. All these lead lap cars. Matt Kenseth 6th. Kenny Schrader 7th. Tony Stewart there is 8th on the outside lane. 9th is Jeff Burton. 10th is Bobby Labonte. 11th, the highest rookie in the race, is now Kevin Harvick. Then Dave Blaney, Mike Skinner, Robert Presley, and rookie Kurt Busch. Those are your lead lap cars.
And here's the strategy. Again, 15 cars on the lead lap. All the leaders were on pit road at lap 159. 41 laps to go. 2 of the Roush cars, Kurt Busch and Jeff Burton, topped off on lap 160, 161. That's with about 39 laps to go. 3 caution laps. That buys these guys a little bit of fuel, so we're going to see what happens here as we go green flag with 38 laps to go.
Oh, it's going to be exciting. I can promise you that. And I just wish you'd tell me nobody could make it. I just want to hear you.
Not again.
Broke myself for that early in the year.
Boy, Dale Jarrett did not get a great restart.
No, and it hurt Ricky, too. And
now 2 cars on the tail end of the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace out in front of the leader. And add Jerry Nadeau to that list. 3 cars on the tail end of the lead lap in front of Jarrett.
There's a couple of good cars up here a lap down, the 8 car and the 2 car. They're going to try everything they can to get a lap back.
Whoa. What's going on?
Well, he's putting the old Pocono slide job on him, trying to keep him behind him. Because he knows if he can get through the corner, maybe he can hold him off for a lap anyway.
And he's got a good race car. How he went on the tail in the lead lap. He was a car that pitted under green before this last caution came out, put him a lap down.
Had to pit early, actually, compared to what everybody else was going to do.
Harold, was Junior trying to break the draft?
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe his tires weren't cleaned off?
No, he was just trying to break the draft, Mike. He was just trying to keep that 2 car from passing him going into the tunnel turn. See how much he lifted. He pulled away from. He knew he had a good car through the corners. Rusty got a run on him down the straightaway.
All right, Jarrett's going to get Nadu as they go to turn 1 and put Jerry back 1 lap down. Casey Atwood in the garage with Steve Burns.
Thanks, Mike. Casey, you had a great run today. What put you in the garage?
Well, we did. We had a real good car. You know, it felt good to be up there in the top 5 or 6, where you could see the 24 and the 88. That was pretty cool. But just motor blew up down the backstretch. We're twisting these things pretty good, and I've always seen a lot of motor problems here on TV, but hadn't had a whole lot of luck with engines this week. Had blew one in the rental car and blew one in the race car. So we'll have to come back and get them next time.
0 for 2. Let's go to Matt.
Steve, Kevin Harvick was one driver who did not want to see that caution. He was one of about 5 or 6 cars that could actually go the distance on one more stop. Kevin Hamlin, that was game plan number 5 out the window. What about game plan number 6?
Well, we just have to see how this plays out. There's still, like, I believe one car out there is going to have to stop if there's not another caution, which only gets us one spot, of course. But we've kind of been fighting this Jim Goodrich Surplus Chevrolet all day, and we've been on both sides of the deal. Been too tight, been too loose, and hopefully right now we'll hit it right in the middle, have a good finish to the day. But like to all the fathers, my dad, happy Father's Day, huh?
That team got their first win with young driver Kevin Harvick in the Cracker Barrel Old Country Store 500 when he nipped Jeff Gordon by 6 1/1000ths of a second. Narrow margin.
Larry, I tell you, I believe the flames are not as hot as they were earlier in the race.
Well, he's not gaining on Dale Jarrett or Ricky Rudd right now, but he's doing something he didn't have to do those first 100 laps. We've talked about it several times. Clean air, no traffic to deal with. Right now, he's almost a second behind leader Dale Jarrett, a little over a second.
I think he was relying on a lot of things. I think he was relying on a good, fast green flag pit stop and a little bit better mileage than those Yates cars were getting. And I don't think he was too worried about them up until that caution came out.
Now, when Kevin Hamlin said at least one of those cars in front of us is going to have to stop, who might he have been talking about?
Well, let's see. Maybe
we'll see.
I don't do predictions on who can and who can't.
We've learned that. How about next week, DW? Sears Point, California. Instead of racing on a roval, a road course oval, we're going road racing for real.
Yeah, you got to be amphibious to run a road course.
What?
You know, you got to be able to go left and right. Amphibious.
You sure that's the right word, DW?
Close cousin to ambidextrous.
Oh, is that? Yeah, that's what it said.
All right, we'll look at the Fox tracks here. We'll watch the interval from Jeff Gordon in third to Dale Jarrett. We'll see if he closes it up any, holding it about 1.2 seconds. Off into turn 1. Loses just a little bit. Off the throttle. Coming off turn 1. There you see Dale Jarrett, the leader.
I tell you, Ricky Rudd's going to put a little heat on his old teammate now, and they are opening up the gap between themselves and Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Gordon is pulling away from Sterling Marlin. So it's going to be interesting to see if fuel mileage plays into this at all. Maybe Steve can tell us.
Well, DW, we checked on the 20 car of Tony Stewart on the last stop. He said, tighten me up. So they made some adjustments, a wedge adjustment, an air pressure adjustment. Well, as he went back out, he said, hey, should I come back in? We'll top off for gas. Crew Chief Greg Zipadelli said, no, we can go the rest of the way. Dick Berggren.
Walking down pit road, Dale Jarrett's team says they can make it all the way. Sterling Marlin's team says they don't need another pit stop, and neither will Ricky Rudd, if the crew chiefs are telling us the straight story.
Gotta think so. Gotta hope so. There's Kevin Harvick to the inside of Bobby Labonte. That battle is for 8th place. Kenny Schrader is going to be part of that.
Now, you just think about Harvick. He raced 300 miles last night, and he raced his heart out. Dominated the race in Kentucky. And here he is in the top, 10 today. So the kid's still doing his thing.
And doing well.
But you got to give a call to Kenny Schrader in that 36 car. Newton Moore, his crew chief, came on board about 9 or 10 races ago. He's been in the top 10 most of the day. This is the car that they ran at Charlotte. His teammate, Johnny Benson, did the tire test here for Goodyear.
Now, Schrader thought he had a motor problem, but that car is right up on pace. Steve, what's up?
Yeah, they had a problem, and remember, Kenny Schrader said over the radio, I think I've lost a cylinder or there's trash in the carburetor. After a while, the problem went away, so the motor man thinks they, in fact, had something in the carburetor, but it is up to speed.
Definitely up to speed. It's going down the straightaway, and that's where any kind of problem like that would show up. Dale Jr.'s driving as hard as he can. Larry trying to keep that 88 behind him.
Well, and Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett's teammates catching him, but right now, Dale Jarrett, he's lost the front downforce on his car because he's in back of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car.
These cars are so equal, and they get behind each other. It's hard to pass.
And Rusty Wallace has gone a lap down to Jarrett once again. Restarted in front of him, but Jarrett has gone past him now.
It has not been a Rusty Wallace kind of day. You know, he loves this racetrack. Runs really, really well here. Had a shot at winning a number of races. Has won here a number of times. But, boy, he has been off the pace today.
And the Penske team had to think they were coming in here with a good shot at a win. Mayfield's had mechanical trouble, and Rusty got caught a lap down there and just hasn't quite worked out well for them. Now, Jeff Burton was a top 5 car much of the day, but here he battles Mike Skinner for 12th.
He came in, and I think he came in and topped off, and that's how it got him behind some of these cars here.
He came and topped off with 1 to go. Again, that just gives that little bit of insurance that we can make it the rest of the way on fuel.
Yeah, that's something, you know, the crew chief doesn't have to keep telling you can make it. You know you can make it.
Look at Dave Blaney in that 93 car, 3 wide. Come on, guys. Somebody's got to give. A little give and take here.
Ooh, Schrader, look out. That 93 is right under you.
This is a battle for 9th, 10th, 11th, right in there. All these guys.
A week from next Thursday, Blaney and Tony Stewart are going to hop in dirt modifieds, go up to Lebanon Valley, New York, and put on a big match race.
Oh, that'd be fun on dirt. Blaney's, I mean, he's awesome on dirt. I tell you somebody else I love to watch run dirt. Kenny Schrader.
Oh, yes.
Schrader is a good dirt track driver.
Seen Ricky Rudd take a little peek there on the inside.
Saw that smoke again, too. Just
Here we go.
A little bit of it.
Coming off turn 1. Fall back in behind teammate Dale Jarrett. Down the Long Pond straightaway.
All clear. 30 to go.
Now, the last time these two got racy together, it brought Jeff Gordon right up to them and kind of messed up the Robert Yates game plan there.
I believe that Jarrett's being affected by Dale Jr., and that's allowing Ricky to really ride on his back bumper.
But look at, if they get too racy, look who's waiting in the wings.
Oh, I think they probably realize that, and they don't want to drag him back in there and make him a player again. They'd like to get away from him if they can.
Jeff Gordon just 1 second back from the 2 Robert Yates Fords, Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd. 30 laps to go in the Poconos. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
With the help of Subway's low-fat sandwiches and exercise, summer's looking good for a lot of people.
Feeling good, having fun in the sun. Subway's taste is #1. Look at us now, we're living right, and we owe it to the man who showed us the light.
And how's Jarrett these days? He's looking better than ever. Subway has 7 delicious fresh-made sandwiches with just 6 grams of fat or less, and a lot of other smart ideas.
Come to Subway and take a bite.
Subway, eat fresh.
You ready for a cold one?
Yeah.
Is that cold enough for you?
It's cold. It's not Coors Light.
Brewed at the edge of freezing to lock in that Rocky Mountain cold taste. Coors Light. Ah, tasty.
You can drop in anytime.
In the battle against athlete's foot, you gotta have, boom, tough-acting Tinactin. Tinactin pump spray is clinically proven to stop the severe itching and burning of athlete's foot. Tinactin is so tough it even prevents athlete's foot. So get, boom, tough-acting Tinactin.
Introducing new Armor All Protectant Wipes. Armor All Shine and Protection, now in a wipe.
1-800-CALL-ATT has a new spokes. Oh, no, not the top.
For collect calls, dial CALLATT. That's not right, is it? $30,000, Mom. No, it's for a physics book. No, really. 1-800-CALLATT. Practice, practice, practice. Doctor, I got a growth.
The way it was written, please.
1-800-CALLATT. Nice job, Carrot Stick. Save big bucks on every call. Dial 1-800-CALLATT for collect calls.
Can I have your number?
Here's to the best dad in the world.
We don't need your high-priced safety junk.
Thank you.
The Simpsons, 8/7 Central, tonight on Fox.
I'm off from, I believe.
Welcome back to Pocono. Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon behind Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's trying to stay on the lead lap as you watch from the Fujifilm blimp. The It's onboard crew providing us these great aerial shots. There are the only two fellows who will not be in traffic at the conclusion of today's race. Right up there. Well, Dale Jarrett, he has the lead, but he doesn't have clean air. How big a problem?
Well, it's a big problem for him right now. I believe if he could get by Dale Jr., I believe he could stretch the lead on Ricky and Jeff. But right now, I think Dale Jr. is a factor. And he's not doing anything wrong. He's trying to stay on the lead lap, but it's affecting these leaders.
Well, how about the second place car, Ricky Rudd? Let's go to his pit. Dick Berggren.
Well, they were second last weekend in Michigan, running second right now. Michael McSwain, have you got any tricks up your sleeve to pull this one out?
Well, we put all our tricks out there. The only tricks we got left is bolted in that seat out there, turning that steering wheel. I think he's the best driver out there to see if we got enough race car for him.
All right, good luck, Michael.
Quite a cheerleader.
Boy, he is, and that's what you want to. I always told Jeff, I said, I don't care if everybody's going one way and I'm going the other, and I'm always right. And you stand behind me like that.
Michael McSwain and Ricky Rudd have such a great relationship. They've only been together since Ricky's been driving the Texaco car now for a year and a half. Michael was with Ricky when Ricky owned his own race team a few years ago.
Yeah, they got a great relationship, and I can't imagine anybody wouldn't enjoy working with Fatback. I mean, he's a fun guy to be around. I love talking to him in the garage, hanging out with him. He's a cool guy.
Of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car, he'd love to see a caution flag. That's the only way he's going to get this thing back in contention.
And you know, I think Dale Jarrett would love to see a caution flag too, to get Earnhardt Jr. out from in front of him. He knows if he makes the move on Jr., Gordon's going to make a move as well. Dick Berggren?
Well, Dale Jarrett just called into his crew and asked if there was anything that they could do to get Kannapolis out of the way. Kannapolis meaning Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's where he lives. Crew said there really wasn't anything they could do, even though the two pits are side by side. On a caution flag a little while ago, Jr. wanted to get his lap back. Well, DJ kept speeding on. He didn't get his lap back. Guess what?
Now it's costly.
Well, the thing about it, if Dale Jarrett was out there by himself leading the race, you know, maybe it would be more of a deal they could make. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. can't let Dale Jarrett, because he's going to let Ricky Rudd and Jeff Gordon go by him as well.
Jarrett's going to make a try.
By nose.
Got him loose. Got him loose over in turn 1.
Got him real loose. And look who's going to take advantage of that. Ricky Rudd down on the inside. Is he going to make it? Yes, he is.
He had the line getting out in that tunnel turn. He's going to take the lead through turn 2.
Boy, you get the advantage of sucking off of the cars in front of you, and around you go.
But look who got the run right here. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car off the tunnel turn.
And I'm sure that's something that Jarrett's going to try to block. He doesn't want Dale or Jeff Gordon to get in front of him.
Down there. And that's the trouble with where Jarrett was. He was darned if he did and darned if he didn't.
As soon as he pulled out to make that pass, it opened the door for Ricky.
Now here's where we see the serpentine coming down the front stretch. Ricky Rudd trying to break that draft.
Every time I see that, Neil Bonnet. Neil Bonnet was, I think it was with the Wood Brothers, and he invented that down this long front straightaway trying to break the draft.
The first time he did it, everybody, what is he doing?
And of course, this track used to be a lot rougher than it is now, and you get down on that inside, and the sparks would fly, and the tires would smoke. It was a pretty frightening looking sight if you were trying to follow him.
Draft plays such an effect here. We see Ricky Rudd on the Long Pond straight here, trying to break that draft on his teammate Dale Jarrett.
Well, he was hounding Dale Jarrett, and now that he's out front, again, I can't stress enough, being out front. You've seen what it's done every time. Jeff Gordon's out front, pulled away. Dale Jarrett was out front, pulled away, and now Ricky Rudd's out front, and he's out front at the right time.
Did you see last week after the race with Ricky coming out of the trailer? Here's Dale Jarrett came up, gave him a big hug, and great job. I don't think anybody wants to see Ricky win a race more than Dale Jarrett. But remember, Jarrett's right up there in this Winston Cup point lead. Yeah, well, he needs to win as badly as Ricky does.
I think that goes back to Martinsville, because there are a lot of people that thought, you know, maybe Dale Jarrett should have let Ricky Rudd win that race. But folks, you don't let anybody win a race. They earn it. And that's the way the drivers want it, and that's the way it's got to be.
22 laps to go. Can Ricky Rudd break the winless drought that he didn't realize was as bad as it was until we interviewed him at the start of the race?
There's a place where good times come easy and life tastes better with every bite. It's got to be Applebee's. Hot off the neighborhood grill, Applebee's Steak Trio. Dig into our top-selling house sirloin or the Bourbon Street Sirloin Grilled Cajun style. Or for a limited time, how about 20 ounces of Porterhouse Paradise? It's only at Applebee's. It's good, it's good.
This one? Yeah, try this one on too.
Time that you seen him is when he was one. Healed up with some cats from the bottom.
Really into your music? Then roll on into Best Buy, where you can have fun checking out thousands of CD titles and the latest booming technology. Best Buy. Go ahead, turn on the fun.
I have something to tell you.
What is it?
I'm having an affair.
With who?
Instantly replay live TV.
With your sister, Crystal.
Miss nothing. Ultimate TV. Watch what you can do.
Try all you want, but nothing can replace the rush you get from a Kawasaki Ninja.
Somebody's about to ride off with a great deal on a Kawasaki. What are you gonna do on your summer vacation?
Fox presents 3 episodes of the hit series Boston Public 3 nights in a row.
Did you witness this murder, Tyrone?
All starting at 9/8 Central tonight on Fox.
Welcome.
19 laps to go in the Pocono 500 presented on Fox by Subway. It was pretty apparent that whichever one of those 3 lead cars was able to bust past Dale Earnhardt Jr., it would get in clean air and take off. Dale Jarrett made the move, but Ricky Rudd was the car that capitalized, got to the front, and now he's edging away.
And you don't even see Dale Jr. in the picture now, and that's in like 3 or 4 laps, and he was holding those guys up. That's what he was supposed to be doing. That was his job, but you see what happens once they got around him. There's Sterling Marlin looming back there in 4th place. Another great day for him. Close, but
no cigar. 6 seconds off the lead, but in a top 5 spot in the 5th place car. One of the picks at the top of the day, Mark Martin, also having a good run. Then it's Matt Kenseth, Bobby Labonte, his teammate Tony Stewart, Kenny Schrader, and Kevin Harvick, the top 10.
Now, I don't want anybody at home to think we're closing the deal, because this race, man, it comes down to, this is a 2.5-mile super speedway. Takes a long time to get around it. Anything can happen, even on the last lap. Saw it with Dale Earnhardt down here, and Jeremy Mayfield. Saw Jeremy Mayfield cut a tire down on the last lap in the 3rd turn to not win this race. So anything can happen yet.
And a caution would change everything.
I don't think anybody wants to see a caution right now.
Especially that Texaco Havoline car out front.
Yeah, because he is opening up a pretty huge gap between he and 2nd place, his teammate.
0.8 of a second this time by on Jarrett. Remember, he and Gordon, Jarrett and Gordon, just 26 points apart in the battle for the Winston Cup Championship. Both have led laps today. Gordon has led the most laps, which is worth an additional 5 bonus points.
See the speeds at the line. Just like they're running on the racetrack.
I love it when the crew says, you got hounds nipping at your heels, and they say, take care of it, be smooth. I mean, you got to get up on the wheel now. You can take care of nothing. Use it up.
Yeah, smooth is over.
Yeah.
17 laps to go.
All you want to do is see those guys in that mirror getting smaller and smaller and smaller. My favorite words. I love it when they say, so many seconds and you're pulling away.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Jeff Gordon will not lose a point to Dale Jarrett the way they sit right now. It's 5 points difference from 2nd to 3rd, but Gordon has led the most laps, which is 5 more bonus points than Jarrett. So the Winston Cup point chase would not change. Jarrett would leave here just the way he came in, 26 points off of Jeff Gordon. It's Ricky Rudd who would pick up a bit.
And 26 points, and we're almost halfway through the season. We talked a while ago about Dale Jarrett letting Ricky Rudd win the race. That's also 5 less points. 5 points can make a big difference.
That's 1 race, 1st to about 6th place.
Here's two guys that's had good runs all day long. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. And how about Bobby Labonte in the 18 car? Started 18th. They really was struggling with that race car. Made that two-tire stop early in the race. Lost a lot of ground, but they're here running in 7th position. And for the first time this season, since he clinched the championship back in Atlanta, they're in the top 10 in points, 10th position.
Yeah, it's a good, consistent run from Mike. Now, we've heard them all day long. That car was really, really bad loose most of the race, but they've gotten it tightened up for him now.
This is the same car that he won the Brickyard 400 with last year at Indianapolis. Indianapolis Pocono, a lot of similarities. Goodyear will even run the same tire at the two racetracks.
We know that's a fast car at Indianapolis anyway.
A little further back, Tony Stewart in 8th place, and then Kenny Schrader, Kevin Harvick. There's Stewart pulling up closer on his teammate, and then Rusty Wallace, who's a lap down. There's Schrader in a little zone by himself. Ted Musgrave just behind, and then there's Kevin Harvick, and Harvick's mirror is all filled up with Jeff Burton once again.
They've been racing each other pretty hot and heavy here for a lot of laps.
But now, just you look at Jeff Burton in the 99, how important track position. Remember, he'd been lurking in the top 5, came in, topped that car off with fuel with 1 to go, went back to about 15th, and it's just so hard to get back to the front.
Yeah, the only thing he's banking on is that some of these guys in front of him would have to stop for fuel, splash and go, and I don't believe that's going to happen.
Right behind them, Dave Blaney is part of that battle in the Bill Davis Dodge. Ward Burton back out on the track after being involved in the big wreck at lap 54, but there's Blaney on the lead lap. So is Mike Skinner.
And I haven't heard anybody on the scanner or talking about, you know, save fuel, watch your fuel or anything like that. Sounds like everybody's pretty confident they got plenty of fuel to go the distance.
There's Blaney, and the gap back to Skinner, who's in 13th place on the lead lap.
Now, one thing that I would worry about if there was some concern, I believe those two Yates cars would burn a little more fuel than maybe Gordon's car would. So they got to be maybe not worried, but certainly telling Ricky to probably save all he can.
But looking at Dale Jarrett in that 88 car, DW, we won the race here with DJ in the 28 car in 1995. 42 laps to go. We could only run 40. I said, DJ, you got to save me some fuel. And he did it. He ran out as he crossed the start-finish line. But why don't you tell here, especially at Pocono shifting, how a driver can save a lot of fuel?
Dale Jr.'s back on pit road. Yeah, you just short shift. You got to, you know, anytime you're moving that throttle backs and forth, shifting gears, gassing it and all that, you're going to save fuel if you don't do all that.
Now, Earnhardt Jr. was in with 45 laps to go. Now he is back in, but much earlier than a fuel stop.
Well, you know, again, he had pitted, and we knew he could not do it on one more stop. They're going to go ahead and short pit here, get their fresh tires on the right side, full of fuel. They'll be able to go to the distance from here.
Also, Kyle Petty has pulled his Sprint number 45 to the garage.
Oh, that's a shame. That means all 3 Petty cars will be in the garage at the end of the day. Buckshot Jones, John Andretti, and now Kyle Petty.
But now Andretti's back out there. I can't believe they fixed that car.
They did fix
it. But the 43 with a whole new left front nose section is back on the track, Larry. He's 39th. He's not going to pick up a lot of points, but there he is. Look at, they put a whole new left front on that car.
He's back out there, 49 laps down, but every lap counts.
Bad as he was banged up, hard to believe, but there he is. Hey, Matt Kenseth got past Bobby Labonte there.
I don't believe it. I'm not real sure that Bobby Labonte appreciated whatever Kenseth did, because he's putting a courtesy pass to him at the bumper there.
Matt Kenseth drives it down into turn 1, a little deeper. Car washes up. But again, we've seen this all day long, getting that grip up there in that second, third groove off turn 1. Look at Tony Stewart.
Comes teammate. And Bobby Labonte sitting there saying, come on, bud, cut me some slack.
And the fellow who loves seeing all that, Kenny Schrader. Stay side by side. Stay side by side, because I'm coming.
Johnny Benson in the 10 car. He's on pit road for his final stop.
Yeah, there's Schrader right behind those two guys. Running nice, Schrader is. 17 is 6, 18 is 8.
And Stewart's going to pull away a little bit there.
Ricky Rudd in that Texaco car.
Speaking of pulling away, Larry, that 28 car is stretching it right on out now. Car looks really good. It's coming up off the corner. It's nice and straight, nice and smooth. Car looks to be real neutral. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. You know, it's not pushing. It's not loose. It looks like a real friendly car to drive.
Well, it wasn't long ago we had Sterling Marlin in the same situation, leading the race, going away. Late race caution comes out, everything changes.
Changes the whole complexity.
Somebody else wins.
Next time by will be 10 laps to go, but that's a long time at Pocono.
Yes,
a lot
sir.
can happen on a 2.5-mile racetrack in 10 laps.
It takes almost a minute to get around here, 56 seconds. So this is a long way to go yet.
Let's show you interval at the start-finish line with 10 to go.
It's been pretty stable right around that 1.4, 1.5 seconds.
And does Jeff Gordon have anything left for Jarrett, or is he a victim of being behind a car and not getting clean air on the nose?
I think that might be the problem. We've seen him when he got back in traffic earlier, he didn't seem to be able to pass. See how the nose is lifted up? See how the car seems to be reared up in the front end? That's because it doesn't have any downforce or any air on it. That's something all these guys complain about all the time, particularly on a flat racetrack like this.
Right now, as long as through the corners Dale Jarrett runs that bottom groove, it's going to be hard for Jeff Gordon to get by.
And you can't just pull the fenders out and do everything you can do on some racetracks because it kills it down the straightaway so bad. So this is a real compromise of making a handle through these flat turns, but still having good straightaway speed.
And Darrell, that's one reason I've always worked hard as a crew chief at a racetrack of this size, not to make the car too aero-dependent, to turn with downforce, make it turn with the chassis, because you don't have that downforce. Linda Rudd, Ricky's wife, there in the corner of your screen, pulling her husband on here. Next time by will be 8 to go.
Well, they've been so close. This thing back to Phoenix last year. He was just leading the race, pulling away. Nobody even in the same league he was in, and got caught up in a late race wreck. Here he is today with a great opportunity. But I think momentum is on this team's side, too.
Yeah, think back to last week. He made the right move. He just might have made it one lap too soon. That's all that's been keeping this team from victory lane. And he's legging it out. Rudd picked up 1/10 of a second on them that last lap.
Yeah, he's a little quicker than those guys are. And again, I think Jarrett and Gordon are back there kind of mirroring each other. And that's helping Ricky.
The only question, is there enough fuel?
Yeah, and I haven't heard any chatter on the scanner at all. Normally, if there's going to be a problem, or you think there is.
You run a mode for 1.7 ahead.
That's Rudd's radio.
They're telling him what he needs to do to maintain that gap over Dale Jarrett.
Right now, it's 1.7 seconds.
And you know what else? That's the fastest lap speeds I've heard him run today. So here we are at the end of the day, saving the best for the last.
And this is his crew chief, Michael McSwain. What we got to remember, we've talked about how long it's been since Ricky Rudd has won a race. Michael McSwain would be looking for his first victory as a crew chief. I think back to 1988. I won my first race as a crew chief at Watkins Glen. Guess who was driving that race car? Ricky Rudd.
For Kenny Bernstein.
For Kenny Bernstein.
Wow.
You never forget the first one.
No, you don't.
No.
1975, Nashville. Jake Elder was my crew chief. 1992, the last race I won, Jeff was with us, but Jake was actually called the crew chief. Wow. First and last.
1.7 seconds ahead. Ricky Rudd's lead over his teammate Dale Jarrett, who is trying to keep Jeff Gordon at bay so that there's no change in those point standing margins right there.
You'll see that little bit of tire smoke when he drove down into turn 1, but we don't worry about it now. Let it ride.
Gordon having a look on Jarrett, second place.
I don't believe he's got the steam there. I think if he's going to pass him, he's going to have to get under him, like right here.
Had a good run off turn 1.
He's got a pretty good run right here. Yes, sir.
Carried it through the tunnel turn, and now to turn 3. Gordon for second.
He'll take the position on the bottom here. And, you know, Jeff Gordon, he could afford to kind of play with lines because he had about a 9-second lead on the 4th place car, Sterling Marlin. So he could mess around a little bit there and see what he could do.
Now the question is he going to get up on the wheel? And is he going to chase down Ricky Rudd? 6 laps to go. I don't know, Larry. I don't believe he can make that up unless something happens.
And the trouble is, Darrell, getting past Dale Jarrett cost Gordon about 0.3 of a second.
Ricky's car looks awfully smooth. Now what Ricky needs is for Dale Jarrett to race the heck out of Jeff Gordon. Stay right there, worry him to death,
like
loosen him up. Oh yeah, nip at him. Whatever you got to do, bud, just don't let him get up here to me.
Don't say mosquitoes in this part of the country in June, please.
But that's how aggravating it is.
Right.
I thought everybody up here was real friendly. They drove by that thing, they was all waving. I didn't realize they was slapping at gnats and mosquitoes and everything else.
The no-see-ums.
No-sees, that's what they are.
5 laps to go. Next time at the line.
And Ricky's going to catch this lap car here at a good place. Not going to hurt him any. And there's really no traffic for him to have to deal with. 5 to go.
Clear.
Looking good.
There you see Jeff Gordon closing in just a little bit, but that's 1.9 seconds with 5 to go. That's a big
that's just a little bit of a distraction there with the lap car. I think that hurt Ricky maybe a tad. Had to not get up off the turn 3 like he needed to, but not enough to hurt anything.
And right now, he pretty much has a complete straightaway in front of him with clear traffic.
No lap traffic in front of him to deal with. He just got to mind his manners. Bring her on home, bud.
And remember, Gordon's going to have to get past that lap car as well.
Yeah, and it's all about where you catch somebody here. You catch him down here in the middle of the turn, you got to wait.
Look how much ground Jeff Gordon has put on Dale Jarrett. He was faster. It just took him about 10 laps to get by him.
And it's a ways back, 10 more seconds back to Sterling Marlin, who was 4th.
Now, Gordon is actually getting the advantage of that lap car right now. That's giving him something to draft up on. That's going to pull him up just a little bit.
And picks him up 2/10. And again, Darrell, road race theory. Catch him and pass him where it's not going to slow down either one of you.
Well, you saw what happened there. The 92 car just moved down and let him go, which is a really courteous thing to do at this point in the race.
See Jeff Gordon using up every bit of this racetrack coming off these corners, but he's got 1.7 seconds to make up.
Now, Ricky is going to have... I actually believe it. He's telling him not to look back, keep looking forward. Every time you look back, you're losing time. So I know that Gordon's probably going to close pretty close here, but we've only going to have 3 to go this time by.
Looking in that mirror, you're losing time, and you can lose your line.
Oh, yeah. Don't look back.
This is such a line-mark-sensitive racetrack. It has all the characteristics of a road course in that respect.
It's exactly. It's a very technical racetrack. Hit your marks. 3 to go.
And it's still 1.7 seconds.
1.7 ahead. You run a 56.05, you run a 04.
Tony Stewart trying to make the move on Matt Kenseth. And this is for 6th place.
Kenny Schrader's 8th, and right there's a teammate, Bobby Labonte, 9th. And Harvick's pulled himself into the top 10.
Leader in the upper right in that 6th place race, lower left of your screen, so we don't miss anything here in these final 3 laps.
And we haven't said a lot about Mark Martin today. He's not in our picture, but he's in the 5th place, so they've done a good job today with their car.
The last win for Ricky Rudd, Martinsville, Virginia, September 1998, 89 races ago.
And they had to drag him out of the car. It just used him up. He was a dish rag when that race was over with, and we got 2 to go.
This is Rudd's 49th start for Robert Yates in the 28 car. He's had 3 seconds, 5 thirds, 4 fourths, 4 fifths. That's a top 5 finish once in every 3 starts, but not yet a win.
Well, he's just about 3.5 miles away from one.
Gordon chopped about another 2/10. There you hear Ricky Rudd's spotter telling him no pressure. 1.5 seconds. It'll be white flag next time they come to the stripe.
It looks a lot closer on TV than it really is. I got to tell you, I know Gordon's coming, but nonetheless, that's still that's a big lead to try to overcome.
Looks a lot closer from Ricky's mirror than it does looking out Jeff's windshield.
That's right. And here he comes, folks. He's going to come off of turn 3. Nice and smooth. Car looks good. He's going to move down to the inside a little bit. The white flag's out. The fans are on their feet. They're all waving. Everybody wants to see Ricky Rudd win this race.
Rick Cordell is spotter, coaching him through.
Everybody's done a good job today. Michael McSwain in the pits, a little puff of smoke out of the right front. Back up on the throttle. One more time off of turn 2, down the long back straightaway. Cruising on a Sunday afternoon.
Not only is it 89 races since he won, it's his 44th Pocono start, and he has yet to go to victory lane here.
He's going to run up on a couple of slow cars here. I don't think they're going to be a factor. I believe everybody's aware of the fact that he's coming. See Terry Labonte pull down out of his way.
Clear.
Negotiate this last turn. Ease it down in there. And here he comes, smooth up off of turn 3. Slider back into 4th gear.
Well, he won practice. He killed it for the pole, and Ricky Rudd scores his 21st Winston Cup victory. The first time Rudd has ever won from the pole. as Michael McSwain and Linda Rudd climb down.
Easy, Fatback. Don't hurt yourself, buddy. Take it easy, man.
That's great.
That is. I love it. These are a bunch of good guys right here. Ricky Rudd's a great guy, and there's another one right there. Look at him. Oh, we're going to party tonight, boys.
For the second straight week, the pole winner goes to victory lane.
And this is the first win for Robert Yates Racing Team 28 since June of 1997 when Ernie Irvin won at Michigan.
I love you, man.
Teammates.
He does something back.
Steve Burns.
How about it, Rooster?
Michael McSwain, your first win as a crew chief, what does this mean to you?
Told you, baby.
It means the world, man. It's been a long, hard struggle. This car is just like my whole career has been. It's a long, hard struggle. And this is for all them boys. This is for Mom and Dad at home, my wife, Gianna. Woo! Go celebrate, man. I can't fucking believe I did it, man. Yeah!
Todd Parrott, Dale Jarrett's crew chief, congratulating Michael McSwain.
That is one happy group, and they very well should be.
Ricky's never been to victory lane here. He's just asking, where do they do this? Do they do it on the front straightaway? Where is it?
Just bring her on down here. We'll show you where it is, bud.
Brett Bodine, congratulating Ricky Rudd. Brett, one of the last owner drivers. Ricky owned and drove his own team for many, many years before joining Robert Yates.
Now, is he going to cut us some donuts, or what's he going to do here? Probably wouldn't mind buying everybody a couple of dozen. Knowing Robert Yates the way I do, he might not like donuts. Oh, here you go.
We're going to get them, though. The Rooster.
The Rooster. Rooster, that's what Fatback calls Ricky. Calls him Rooster. That's a polite donut.
One donut.
One donut, plain, yes. No sugar, no sprinkles, no anything.
Fans are loving this win. A very popular win with all the race fans.
Well, they've been so close, and they've had a lot of bad luck at times, and been running great here lately. Good to see them in victory circle.
Rookie of the year with his own team that he and his dad ran, so a lot of family connection there. Is that Landon?
That's Landon. That's his son right there.
High fives for everybody.
Fatback still celebrating. Going to victory lane, Fatback.
Oh, that's going to last till Sonoma.
Oh, yeah. And guess
maybe
what?
Through Sonoma.
Guess what? This cat right here is one of the best road racers in NASCAR.
You better believe it.
And he could give Jeff Gordon a run for his money on that road course.
Came out of go-karts, came to Winston Cup at the tender age of, I think, 22 as he rolls into his MBNA winner's circle.
And DW, I believe that was your pick.
Hey, all right. I forgot one. I won one. Ricky, way to go, baby. I broke the jinx.
Maybe even Bobby Labonte will let you pick him from now on.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe they'll quit picking on me.
It's the 5th top 5, the 11th top 10 for Ricky this season, his 6th straight top 10. And his first win for Robert Yates comes in his 49th start in the number 28 car.
Ricky, front out.
His 710th Winston Cup start. And he becomes the 11th different winner this season. That's sweat or tears or a combination?
It's tears of joy, I can tell you that.
Well, happy Father's Day, Ricky.
You got it. And happy Father's Day to every dad out there today. Sunglasses.
Yep, wearing the Hutchins device, the supplemental restraint. There's Landon, wishing him happy Father's Day, and wife Linda, and Dick Berggren.
Congratulations, happy Father's Day. What a run after coming so close so often, Ricky. Why was today the big day?
Man, I don't know, Dick. You know, in the beginning of the race, we couldn't get a hold of the racetrack, and those guys kept working on tire pressure, working on chassis, and they got it dialed in, and man, that thing ran at the end of that race. That thing would take off and fly.
How hard were you running at the end of that thing?
I was running about 95%. You know, I was trying not to do anything stupid like hit the fence or something like that. And I saw Jeff coming. I stepped it up a little bit, but It was pretty good, just sort of keep that distance the same. We were running close to 100%, but had just a tick left in case he caught me.
You had come so close so often. Were you thinking in those last laps, oh dear, here it comes again?
Well, I knew something had to go wrong. I didn't even think about winning until I saw the checker flag because I knew something had to go wrong, And hey, happy Father's Day, Dad, back home. And hey, Landon, come on here, baby. First, it's been a while since Landon here and Linda been to Victory Lane. It's a good day.
Congratulations. Good to you.
Hey, thank you.
To Matty.
Well, Dick, Jeff Gordon was reeling in that number 28 machine, but did the 88 hold you up enough, Jeff?
Well, really today was all about who could get out front and get in clean air. We showed that early on that those guys were on their bumper. I couldn't hold them off, but once I got some distance on them, I could run away. And that's pretty much what happened there with Ricky Rudd. He took DJ 3 wide, and that was the move of the race. And once he got some clean air, nobody was going to catch him. I was happy to get by DJ. Our car was pretty good, and I was chasing Ricky a little bit, but catching him was one thing, passing him was another thing. So I'm real proud of the DuPont Chevrolet, and it was a good effort for us and good pit stop. We did everything we could possibly do, and unfortunately, caution just didn't fall our way.
But Jeff Gordon finishes second or better for the 7th time this season. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. A great win for Ricky Rudd, a long time coming. Overdue, you might say.
I would
Here
say
it is.
so.
Yep.
Good run for the 2 Roush cars. Mark Martin in 5th, Matt Kenseth in 6th, and Kenny Schrader, top 10 finish in 9th.
And one Dodge in the top 10, and it's the same one every week. Sterling Marlin.
Kurt Busch, the highest finishing rookie of the race. He and Kevin Harvick both finishing on the lead lap from Rusty on down. Those cars 1 lap back.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. ends up in 20th after getting trapped in the pits, getting a lap down.
And a look back through the rest of the field. And next week, Old Shifty. Here we go.
That's right.
Road racing.
Yeah, we'll be on a true road course next week.
No Roval.
No Roval like this one.
No, Sears Point, California for the final Winston Cup race this season on Fox. Here's how the points sit. Not much has changed. Not at the top. Jeff Gordon over Dale Jarrett by 36. Ricky Rudd picks up a little. Sterling Marlin, good run today. Johnny Benson drops back a bit. And there's the rest of our top 20 of the Winston Cup standings.
Yeah, open the wine and cut the cheese down there in the studio. We're going out your way next week, boys.
Well, I don't know if we would exactly say cut the cheese, but we get the idea. All right, but Ricky Rudd, this is a tremendous story and a happy Father's Day. His dad, Al, of course, who owned some cars that Ricky drove, actually owned an auto salvaging business, which fueled the interest that Ricky Rudd had in cars and in racing. And here's a guy who, a couple of years ago, thought about maybe hanging it up, revived his career. Last year was in the top 5 in points, has a chance for his first Winston Cup points championship ever.
Well, I think a whole lot is to be attributed to Robert Yates. He gave Ricky a golden opportunity to come over and drive for him. I think Ricky's made the most of it, and today he put an exclamation point on that, opportunity. And you can't say enough about what they got going on, because right now, Michael McSwain told me last week at Michigan, they've got 19 cars ready to go for this big stretch run at the end of the season. They love these race tracks that are coming up. Last week, great at Michigan, won here today, going to Sonoma. Hey, man, they're on a roll also.
And finally ends that streak of 88 races without a win. All right, as we head to the wine country for next week, a toast to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day, and to Ricky Rudd and his family as well. He's a father.
Congratulations, Ricky.
And you be careful driving home. And we'll be, of course, in the wine country. Fox Racing, Sears Point on Friday. Fox Sports Net, the Winston Cup qualifying, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Note the different time. And then on Sunday, NASCAR this morning gets it cranking early in the a.m. and then the Dodge 350. You'll see it live on Fox. Our pre-race show at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. NASCAR Victory Lane wraps everything up. The Pocono 500, the NASCAR ticket on this Father's Day with Ricky Rudd starting on the pole. Jeff Gordon, last week's pole and race winner, helping this race. Gordon leading for 86 laps. Jarrett leading for 62 laps. But no sport allows for as much family participation as NASCAR, especially between father and son. And on a day when we saw Father Ricky Rudd in Victory Lane, we'll keep an eye on him and Jeff Gordon in the points race next week on Fox.
Okay, I'm gone.